Flipping old school. Welcome to the Sae Bae cast. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure, man. I don't know how long I've been subscribed to your channel, but I know I've been watching for at least half a decade, probably longer. I'd probably guess since 2019. And you just said before this recording, you were about to hit your 10-year anniversary of content creation. Is that correct?
That's right. I know 10 years is kind of wild. I feel like so much has changed over 10 years, like not just in old school, but like I feel like content creation for old school in particular has changed probably more than the actual game has, which is kind of crazy. It's just a long time to do anything.
Oh yeah. No, I mean it's crazy how fast the time flies too. I mean, I started in the beginning of 2019, so it's been 7 years for me, over 7 years now, and I'm just like, wow, it
Damn.
feels like a maybe three, something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's so much I want to ask about. I guess because I don't really know you fully, I would love to just hear your story of one, how you kind of got into RuneScape just briefly, and then sort of how that transitioned into content creation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I originally played RuneScape, like obviously way back in the day, like when I was 7 years old. So I don't know, 2004 or something. And like I remember it was like my first kind of act of rebellion to go to the library to play RuneScape because my dad didn't have it. We have a really good relationship, but that was like our one main like sticking point. Like he just did not want me to play video games that much,
Ugh.
which I'll always rub in his face now. That's like my full time job. But so yeah, I'd go to the library, play old school RuneScape. The library had like a 30-minute timer on it, but like some of the kids figured out the Internet Explorer icon would like pop up for a half a second when it was logging you off. If you opened up Internet Explorer, just like bypass it and you could stay on forever.
That is actually amazing because this a similar thing happened. My dad, at some point when we already were playing RuneScape on our home computer, he set an hour-long time limit, and it was this application called iShutdown, like AYE shutdown, and it would just auto shut down the computer after an hour. But I found a way, and this was just this is just pure trial and error, but I would just as soon as it would get to like the last minute of like the countdown, I would just start opening every single application on the computer, and it would just freeze up everything. Like it would just completely brick the computer, and it would probably brick it for like 10 minutes, and it would just completely cancel out the timer. And then over the course of like the next 15 minutes, I'd have to close every single application individually, and then it would just like have unlimited time. So I totally feel
That's
that.
funny.
That's
Brute force
amazing.
method.
Yeah, literally. Oh my god, that's awesome. So okay, so definitely weren't. I feel like that's a common trend for content creators is the parents not really wanting you to get into video games, and yet that's kind of an act of rebellion, and then it kind of makes you want to play more. So what happened after that?
Yeah, I mean, after I stopped playing sometime in like high school, there was like this weird aura that RuneScape was uncool and other video games were. So I kind of fell into that, like, I'm not going to play RuneScape anymore, even though it's very dumb in hindsight. And then I didn't really play it until old school released. And I hopped on like pretty much right away, just for like a day or two, and just like for a nostalgia trip. And that was cool. Also, funny looking back in hindsight, like the nostalgia of what was, I guess, essentially only like 3 or 4 years since I'd last played. And now old school has been around for like twice as long. It's like, it just wasn't actually that long, but I was young and it felt like forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then content creation that came about 2016. The idea came because I just hated my job so much. I was like working in this call center, which is not a fun job to begin with, but it was like a call center for a cell phone company,
Oh
and I was
no.
doing like retention for it. So I was trying to stop people from quitting. And I'm assuming you're from the States, but in
Yeah, yeah.
Canada, our telecommunication companies are like almost evil, I would say, and they're just like everybody hates them. So like people would just take out all their frustration on you, and I couldn't even blame them either. I'm like, I totally agree with you, but stop yelling at me, please. And so that job sucked. We went on this like 3-month trip to Southeast Asia, my girlfriend and I, and then on that trip, I'm like, I gotta figure something else out. And then that like, I don't know, like 1 week when you get back from any vacation, you're just like motivated for 1 week before you fall back into your rut. That
Mhm.
was like that was like my project end, and then I kind of got hooked just seeing some success, and then just kind of kept going from there.
That's so cool. I feel like we have a very similar background, like kind of
Nice.
playing as a kid, quitting in high school because it was uncool. It's exactly what I did. Like well, actually, it wasn't even that it was uncool. It was the fact that they got rid of the wilderness and free trade. And it was also
Yeah,
uncool
right.
for like when I was playing. Like it was so embarrassing to say you played RuneScape. Like just the word RuneScape was just cringeworthy back
Yeah.
then. And then of course I worked really bad jobs, and that kind of really got me to just reevaluate my life and what I wanted to do, and that's where I got into content creation. So I'm looking at your channel right here, and I'm looking at the oldest, and it's so cute because like your first videos are like trying to get a bond, and
I
like
know.
that. I mean, what can we just go back down memory lane? How much was a bond 10 years ago? Do you even remember the price then versus now?
I feel like it was 2 mil or maybe 3 mil is what the most I could remember it being.
That's
Like I
nuts.
don't know if it was like inflation of the game, because like 2 mil back then was worth more than it is today, but like I still think it was easier to get a bond than it is now. But
Yeah.
yeah, that first video is hilarious. Like I think I broke it into like 8 parts, and it's just like using like somehow even worse than a laptop mic, but it was actually like a standalone mic. I don't know how it was so terrible. And like, yeah, just like you would never split that into an 8 part video nowadays, but yeah, it
It
worked
worked. It
kind
worked
of.
back then. I mean, it really did. Because and I'm sure we'll get to this, but the community has changed so drastically over a decade.
Mhm.
Now, I'm looking at your videos just for fun. I bet you're probably thinking, "No, please don't look back at my videos." I mean, I would say the same thing about mine.
That's okay.
But at what point did you actually see this sort of turning point? Because your channel is huge now, and you have over 300,000 subscribers. What was that sort of turning point where you started seeing a bunch of growth?
Yeah, I would say I didn't have like some content creators, maybe not most of them, but some have like a big breakout moment.
Mm,
And there was like small ones for me as well, but there wasn't like a huge moment where I got a huge influx in viewership or a shout out or anything like that. But it was like mostly slow incremental growth. I mean, probably the strategy I used, which I wouldn't do again. Obviously, it was honestly just spamming out videos, and like they're all pretty bad, and like I would never make something like that now, and I don't think you even could anymore and have any success. But yeah, just so many videos, and um, yeah, I guess that's not like amazing strategy, but
it
I
worked.
probably sometime after about 3 or 4 years, we started actually honing in on stuff that I enjoyed doing. And I guess COVID is when I really blew up, which was I was still doing lots of videos, but they were a little more precise and had interesting ideas, and was still kind of a little bit of everything, but wasn't just like cheap, kind of more clickbaity, like money making videos only.
Hmm. Yeah, it's actually it's always fun kind of scrolling through somebody's YouTube and they still have all their videos up because you kind of see the differences of thumbnail art and like how it's kind
Yeah.
of progressing over time. And you're totally right about the sort of spamming. It even though it's not, I mean, I think these days it's kind of seen as a little bit more uncouth. I mean, I feel like
Hmm.
it depends on what lane you're in. I mean, I think with old school RuneScape, spamming is just probably seen as I don't know, just not the way anymore. Like really what old school players want, like people watching YouTube is quality over quantity these days. That's really what it
Hmm.
feels like.
It
Um
feels like a paradox though sometimes, because like people want high quality videos, but they also want so many of them because they're always grinding all the time. So they want something to watch. So like I
that's
think the essence is like people are kind of spamming videos, but it's more like Twitch highlights, and like there's still tons of daily YouTube uploads.
mm,
And I would do that if I was popular on Twitch as well. But like I think you're kind of like getting pulled both directions, which is
yeah.
interested.
I feel like I mean at least how I perceive it is there are just so many OSRS content creators these days that
Mm,
you really need to make something good. I mean if you've already established yourself, like you are one of those creators that's very established with a massive following. But I feel like if you're just trying to get to that point of having an established audience, it really does take like a breakthrough video. I mean, I feel like and again, these are more series makers, I guess. When I think of Limport, or when I think of Coxie, or when I think of, I mean, even Settled's like Mauritania only Swampletics. I mean, it's just, you got to have one big idea that captures the attention of everybody, and then it's posted on Reddit and everything. And then that's like the big exposure. I feel like that's like the big turning point of a channel. So again,
Yeah, I would agree. For breaking out, you do need something like really noteworthy to, because yeah, there's so much high quality content. There's just so much of it. I feel like you're just gonna kind of get buried otherwise. But in some ways, it's nice that, like, I feel like if you do put out a genuinely amazing first video, it probably will get views. Where like other niches or other times in YouTube, it just might not. And that's partly the algorithm changing a bit, and also like just the RuneScape community in general.
One of the things I noticed is you don't have any shorts.
Yeah, no, definitely slacking on the other, like pretty much every single other platform. One of my goals this year is to just consistently start streaming. I did like a bit of multi-streaming last year. I get into it for like a month, and then I just like totally forget about it. But yeah, I would really like to do that. And yeah, shorts. I mean, I feel like I'm like the boomer not uploading shorts now. Like I got to make some changes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I've been very, very slacking on shorts. I feel like I have these random motivational weeks where I'll like spam some, and then I just won't for months and months. And it's like, okay, I really need to be consistent with these. And so what I'm trying to do is trying to get like them scheduled out. Like, so just if I have a week of like a ton of motivation, start scheduling them out every couple days or something. Again, I haven't done that yet, but what I see with shorts is actually huge. I mean, I used to see it because I was kind of, you know, I'm 30 now, so I feel like a boomer in a way, where like everybody's watching shorts, and it took me so long to like just embrace it. I was so resistant on the whole short form content for so long, even watching it. But these days, when you see how many impressions you can get and how many people actually subscribe through just watching shorts, it's mind-boggling. So, and
I know. I think part of me is like, I don't want the shorts on YouTube, but it's totally too late for that.
yeah.
And also, like, I feel like I just haven't. Have you ever hired anyone to help you with stuff?
No.
Like, I feel like that's one thing where I'm like, I should hire someone to make shorts. I'm like, someone can just do that easily.
Yeah, they can do it through your own videos already. It's like your latest upload where you're talking about the market crash. Like literally, you just have a minute segment of something, or just like 3 items you're reviewing, and it's like, boom, there's a short right there. Now, of course, it has to be framed properly, because if you're going with a 16:9 and then go into a 9:16 ratio, it's a little awkward.
Yes.
But yeah, there's always potential there, and I feel like it's always just something extra. But again, it's sort of like weighing the pros and the cons, because your channel's already thriving, and it's like, how much would it cost to get somebody to do that? How many new subscribers are you going to get? But it's definitely something you should try at least for like a month and just see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I was enjoying about multi-streaming to YouTube is that the VODs would stay on YouTube. And previously it would completely clutter your home feed, but they've actually like fully separated it now. So like I could, if you streamed, then you had that VOD, and the VOD would, you know, make some money streaming or whatever, but then the VOD would stay up, and I'd get like an extra like 4,000 views in the VOD, which, you know, is a decent amount for essentially having to put no work into it. So it's like, I think there's like a lot of avenues to get more exposure. People can watch the VODs. I could be making shorts. Have you ever watched EVscape's like breakdown of his like EVscape Enterprise before?
No.
He goes over like all his revenue streams, like all the things he's doing. I'm like, man, that's inspiring. But like, he also has editors. He has like a content manager. He has like a team of people now. I'm like, that, I don't know if I want that, but maybe I could hire someone on Fiverr to make shorts.
Yeah. I mean, I think what we end up seeing as content creators, and I'm kind of including both of us in here, is like I feel like both of us are just kind of like slowly catching up to where everybody else is, because honestly the creators
Mm-hmm.
that are exploding are just those that are on the cutting edge of like, okay, I'm going to take advantage, I'm going to spam everywhere on all the platforms. Like I don't even, I just a few days ago made an Instagram and a TikTok because I'm like, I may as well, I guess. I don't want to look at
Yeah.
the actual site, but I want to like at least post. And it just feels so daunting. I'm like, why? Because to me, it's like Instagram and TikTok are totally irrelevant. Like who's watching that plays old school? But I'm like, okay, there's actually hundreds of thousands of people on those sites, actually, believe it or not, and they do watch it. And even if they see your face over there and it doesn't translate over to YouTube directly, eventually they'll see your face. And if they see it over on YouTube, they're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Like I'm gonna watch because
And I'm always impressed how many people see RuneScape stuff on Facebook. Like I see all these Facebook RuneScape memes. I'm like, who is on Facebook for one? And then who is looking at RuneScape memes over there?
I deleted my Facebook like 8 years ago, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I thought that platform died, but no, it's actually
It's like a living corpse.
no. I mean, somebody said that's where was it? I think it was Odablock actually on the official Old School podcast, who was saying that's where he gets most of his clip views or something like that. Like he's something like that's going on. Like Facebook's
Yeah,
huge
that's wild.
for Old School too. That was shocking to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
It really is. It really is the cascading effect. It's like the more you put in, the more just kind of, or I guess not. It's sort of like cascading, but snowball effect. It's like you just keep the ball rolling and keep spamming. I mean, kind of going back to like just spamming on other platforms. It really is the key to success when you're talking about the World Wide Web. I mean, you got billions of people, I imagine, on online, and for some reason I'm just thinking, oh, I've already kind of hit my sort of like ceiling. Like, and anybody that plays old school kind of already knows who I am, sort of, in some loose way. But that's just not the case at all. There are so many people online that you can still reach. So
I mean, I think Settled proved that you can break out of the old school community specifically because like his videos get upwards of 1 million views, and I would say the highest amount just a RuneScape focus video or like marketed video would maybe get like 2 or 300,000. So he's obviously getting like way more views from people who know of RuneScape or maybe don't. So it's something to aspire to, but it's difficult to make a video that's not like pandering to your most of the people who are going to watch it, but also be accessible for people who don't know that much about RuneScape.
yeah, I think that's the other difficult part with content creation, and kind of staying in your niche, staying in your lane, but also trying to explore new ideas. Because I think when I hear of Flipping Old School, I think, okay, this guy's going to be talking about what's going on in the game. It's going to be a little bit more sort of discussion based, not like, I guess, discussion between people, but just kind of hearing your thoughts. And I feel like me and you both similarly have that sort of niche where we're just kind of talking about the game rather than playing it. And I feel like, generally speaking, the way to like really pop out is to like just play the game. And that's really tough because there's so much more competition in that scene. So I feel like it's just I don't know, it's kind of just figuring things out. I mean, I've just started this new like discussion thing, which has like a panel of guests talking about the game. Is that everybody's like, is that what everybody wants to watch? Not really, but there are a lot of people that do like that. But I feel like I'm going to be just staying in that little bubble of mine. And I'm always wondering, like, man, is this like the route I should take? Should I keep staying in my little niche, or should I really try to expand? So
Yeah, it's hard because like you get penalized for trying to break out of the niche at first, and it can be kind of scary. And like, I mean, obviously, I'm still in the RuneScape niche, but I started pretty much as niche as I could, which was flipping in free to play in old school RuneScape,
yeah.
which is like super niche. And then we kind of slowly moved out of it from there. But like, yeah, even now, I still feel like there's certain niches I just can't really do. Like, for example, leagues or temporary game modes. I feel like some creators have like the monopoly on that. And then like you kind of just have to cover it all year round to even have a chance. So like I'm like right this last 2 weeks, I'm like always so uncertain of what I should do. I'm like, should I upload league videos? Should I not bother? I tried to take like a week vacation, then after a week I started tweaking out and I uploaded the video, and then it got kind of nuked because it was leagues. I'm like, fuck.
It's totally true. There is a I mean, it really just benefits the top of the top. If you are not one of the biggest creators doing leagues and you're going to really dedicate yourself to it, you're going to struggle. Because I even see really still solid sized channels with 50 to 150K subs, and like they'll post a leagues video, and because they're not recognized as either like a solo mission that's going for ranks
Yeah.
or Bodhi or settled, it just, they don't do well. Like they get like a third of the views that they normally get on any other videos because they're just so saturated. All right, I wanted to chat about the new stuff that's been coming into the game lately. So we've seen this year, and I actually watched your video as well, kind of talking about temporary game modes. And what we've seen over the beginning of this year is 2 sort of temporary game modes and not enough main game content. Of course, we're going to see more main game content later in the year, but I want to kind of hear your thoughts on how you are seeing the game right now in 2026.
So this year we've had Brutus. That was like kind of actually a cool update, but it's like a cow boss you can kill in one hit. And then we've had Deadman mode, Annihilation, yeah. And then we've had Leagues, and there's been a few other updates in there, and that's fine. I mean, we still have some pretty big updates coming for the rest of the year, so I would say we'll have to look back after to see what this year would be kind of ranked as in general, because I mean, a new raid is huge, and also the Vampirium update is going to be pretty big as well. Like in general, I think the game is in a pretty solid state. I would say we have like pretty consistently good to excellent updates and just a few kind of weird ones kind of mixed in. Like in recent memory, I would say Forestry is one that was critiqued a lot, and Saline, parts of it were critiqued a lot, and there's some smaller things, but like Varlamore as like my favorite update of all time. And we've had what was before Varlamore?
So we had well, I guess Varlamore was split into 3 segments, but we
it was
had
3 parts.
Some bosses like Yama and Delve and Royal Titans.
Yeah, Yama was really good. I liked Yama, and the Delve boss is fun. I do enjoy it, although I get incredibly frustrated with it at the same time. So I think a Doom would also fall into that. Like it's pretty good, but not as polished maybe as some of the other updates with Varlamore. And even the Colosseum, I love the Colosseum. Like it's my favorite content of all time, but I still feel like it could use like a little bit more polish. Like the items that are offered with the Colosseum are so random, and like the stadium is 100% empty, or like in a gladiator ring and there's nobody there. There's like a few things where I'm like, I feel like they meant to do it and then they just didn't do it. It didn't update it in the first like 3 weeks and then just abandoned forever. Yeah. And that's like a theme that kind of happens with some of the unpolished updates. But in general, I'd say like 8 out of 10 if I was to give it a ranking over the last few years.
Very nice. What are your, I mean, this is a big one, overall thoughts on the release of Sailing? And I want to hear as well what your thoughts were beforehand with the alpha and the beta and even the first initial polls of it. How were you feeling then versus when it updated versus now?
Yeah, so I wanted Sailing. I even made a video before it was announced that like this would be my favorite concept, and like it wasn't my idea by any means, of course, but like I could see a lot of potential with Sailing, and I have enjoyed it for the most part. I think the exploration part of it is amazing. I like pretty much anything you're doing in Sailing where you're doing something that's relaxed and slow, I think is good. The combat's obviously completely scuffed. I don't enjoy Sailing combat at all, and I was a little, I don't know. Some people really like the Mario Kart racing.
The Barracuda Trials.
The Barracuda Trials. I enjoyed it, but it really felt like I was playing like a mini clip video game, just because they're like the boxes and it was a little jank, and like it was fun. It's just like the aesthetic around it felt a little weird.
It is weird,
but I loved the charting and the music's amazing, and honestly, just the boat controls when you're not having to do anything precise is pretty good. That's serviceable. Port tasks probably need like some monetary reward or something. They're kind of cool, but like most of the time you just end up with a plugin on where you have like 700 lines going across your screen, and it just kind of feels, I don't know. they're okay. But overall, I have enjoyed sailing, although I stopped at like 95 for some reason.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like I mean I'm with you pretty much on all of that. I barely did any courier tasks only because from level 1 until like 30, that's all I was doing on release, and I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
hate this. You're getting like 60 or 80 XP per task, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? Like, how is this in the game right now? Like, it just felt so unfinished, and it felt like just so unfair, and it just kind of was like spitting on the players that are trying to get there. Of course it speeds up over time and it ends up becoming really good, but by that point I had such a bad taste in my mouth for it. I was like, I never want to do one of these again.
Yeah, they're weird because
Yeah.
they kind of have to balance them around being able to teleport somewhere, because the retrieval tasks are twice as good as the ones where you actually go, or the ABA tasks or whatever. When you like get one from a location and bring it back, you can just teleport there, bring it back. So it like kind of breaks the whole system. Kind of, you can't. No, most people aren't just like casually going between a bunch of different ports in one direction. They're usually chaining together a bunch of those tasks where you teleport and then go back, which is like kind of cool, but it just kind of breaks the whole system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always sort of a tough one when it comes to content where you see these cool sort of emerging tech that doesn't feel like it was intentional, but it ends up being really fun for those that do want to sweat, and you don't really want to like remove that, but at the same time it's like it's kind of going against what I assume that the developers imagined career tasks would be. So I haven't really done much since like the early stuff, but I loved salvaging. I thought salvaging was great, and they made some solid changes there. It's just very chill. And then I did kind of like the Barracuda trials, except again, kind of going back to you, like I remember first seeing it on one of the betas, and I'm like, why are there crates that are like plopping up on your ship? Like, this really does feel like a PlayStation 1 game all of a sudden.
Yeah,
It's very odd. It feels like you're playing Spyro or something, or like Crash Bandicoot. I don't know. And so I still like it. I think they did a pretty good job, and the hit boxes of those crates used to be just horrible, and they've definitely cleaned it up, because I actually just on my hardcore was doing the initial tamper tantrum, I think, or temper tantrum, I think is the first one. And yeah, just it was pretty chill and stuff, and I already had a super fast boat at the time, so it was nice. But the other thing is, yeah, ship combat. I mean, holy hell, what is happening there? I mean, I would there's actually a part of me that thinks there were some things that were better about ship combat before the most recent update. Now, not everything. I would still take the update over what we had prior, but I was just doing some ship combat to get my 16 ray barbs for my fishing trawler nets, and then I went to go kill albatrosses for some cotton seeds. And dear God, I mean, the fire at will that they added is super jank. They stop firing after like 5 minutes, and there's just like a little chat message that says your guys want to take a break. So they just like stop shooting, and it's just very weird because you're like expecting them to shoot stuff, and then all of a sudden they just won't be shooting anything even though they're still firing at will, and it's like nothing's happening, and the whole thing is just very frustrating. Something needs
yeah,
to be absolutely looked at there and completely revolutionized, because it's bad.
yeah. I'm definitely concerned that like if they take the same amount of time they do for most updates, which I think they would probably take longer, but like I don't think they can fully fix sailing combat within a couple of updates. It's going to be possibly years to get it really correct. And yeah, the fire at will is like better, because before turning an eyeball on and off was just disgusting, and I hated doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so weird. I guess they stop attacking after 5 minutes, so you don't AFK too long, or like they also will lob cannonballs at nothing for some reason. Like I don't know how
Yeah.
that's in there. It's weird. Like these seems like that should just be fixed before.
Yes.
And we still haven't got the chain shot cannonballs, and they really should have just not had sailing combat at all to start with, because like Varlamore had 3 parts. Why couldn't sailing have multiple parts like that? Like we didn't need sailing combat at all. They could have even had monsters out there attacking us for now. That would have been fine. But like I just don't think there's anything that interesting about sailing combat, and I don't think we can ever make it as interesting as regular combat. So I just don't know exactly what the vision is, because I think without that, sailing would be like a really strong update, and it's just kind of bringing it down a little bit now.
It feels like it's just a global beta test. I mean, in a way, I agree with you, but at the same time, I'm like, it's actually probably a good thing that a lot of players have gotten their hands on combat and are understanding, okay, what's so terrible about this, so that Jagex can make necessary changes. Because we see in
That's
the
true.
games past, I mean, you look at the release of Zaya, Jesus Christ, like that was, what was that? It was just like four square. It was literally a four square arena. It was just, what is going on here? And now it's a beautiful place. I mean, it still looks pretty empty, and they still need to adjust some of the houses still. But
Yeah, the standards have vastly improved. I mean, like I would still say sailing is a top 10, maybe like top 7's, top 5 skill maybe. Like it's got its problems, but like it's still like way more fun than if they release fire making or crafting or most skills, to be honest.
Yeah, I just feel like with, at least in terms, or in terms of sailing combat, what I would love to see is, one, why are all the monsters so goddamn spread out? I mean, if you're trying to kill manta rays, it's like the biggest area where there's like one here, one here, one here, way over there. It's like you can only ever line up your ship to attack like 2 or 3 at the absolute max when there's like 12 around. But
Yeah,
you can only
it pisses
ever
me off so much. It's like they
so
tactically
annoying,
tactically put them apart so much so you can only attack 2 at a time, but there's still like 15 in the area. But like you can just never get them at the same time. Like this is like the worst of both possibilities somehow.
It's very frustrating. So you kind of have to like endlessly still tilt your boat and move it here and there, and the respawn rates of these creatures takes forever. Oh my god. Man, yeah.
What do you feel about the flat armor, like the boat flat armor and the monster flat armor and sailing?
See, that's another whole entire can of worms, because I know they were trying to make some adjustments. And I don't know exactly. I think there's some pending poll or pending update that's happening that's going to make it so when you're firing your cannon, it's going to do more damage or something. But in my view, I mean, the whole flat armor with like these super big krakens, whatever the new one is, what is that?
The veiled kraken. Yeah, what the? Why they're like, we're gonna try out some flat armor. They put 15 on it. Like, why don't you try like with 5 or something?
Like, I just don't even understand why we have to have any. Like, just stop. Like, just let us hit stuff. Like, and because I mean, I was having this conversation last week on our little panel of flat armor not having any effect with magic. So if you're using magic, it's just it ignores.
Oh, right, that's
flat
true.
armor, which feels odd and feels unfair for anything else. So I don't know. Like there are things that I could go on about and share ideas, but I feel like I would just end up taking up most of the conversation today talking about what I'd want to see with sailing combat.
Yeah, it's a big conversation.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, I am happy with the skill. I feel like there is definitely, well, they're introducing pirates soon, which is going to be concerning because they haven't even fixed sailing combat yet. So I really hope they just drill down.
I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, yeah. And then if
like we're doing something that complicated, I'm like, man, we can't even get our cannons to shoot properly. I'm like, I don't think we should tackle the like ship NPC combat, but maybe they can fix it all in one go. But
yeah, I feel like what they really need to do with, at least with basic mobs out on sea, is just make it so they are way more clumped up together. They are all aggro potentially. And I would say it would be cool if there was a 10-minute aggro timer, so that if you want to reset the aggro, you can just sail away for a little bit and then come back, or just use a goading pot and it can just get them all back on you. Because I really do feel like in those situations, it should feel like a Slayer task where you go and set your cannon down and just AFKing, everything's auto-retaliating, and you can just chill there. Right now, it feels like sailing combat is very interactive, especially with all the looting you have to do. I mean, they just added that new cannonball, like, attractor thing. Why not have like a loot attractor thing where like the loot magnets onto this thing and then you click that little facility and then it gives you the loot, instead of having to like toss nets out every single kill and get the loot. It's just it's out of control.
They made it faster, but it still has a tick delay of some amount, which just feels bad even though it's faster. Like I know it's like thematically it's nice to have the net pull it in, but like I would honestly just be fine if they're just spawning on your boat. Like I don't really care, although that boat is probably actually like jankily 500 chunks away somewhere. So I don't know what the technical capabilities of that is.
Yeah, I mean, you're right though. I mean, think about when you're killing Kraken, like the normal Kraken, you know, the Slayer monster, and when you kill it, you don't have to like toss a net out to that water and grab
No.
your loot. It just pops, and just like little splash icon, like boom, there's your drop, and like that would be kind of cool if it just landed on your ship just instantaneously, or even in like a little facility that's kind of like holding your items. That would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, or you could have a facility that just like puts in your storage chest or something. That would be nice.
Yeah, well, that would be a whole nother
Well,
thing
okay, the
because
storage chest is complete. Yeah, right. Never mind. That wouldn't
yeah,
work.
it couldn't work that way. It'd have to be like a facility that just holds items that have been from the monsters. Then once you take it, there's
Yeah.
no putting it back on there. So yeah, there's so much to talk about, but let me get your thoughts on these temporary game modes that have been coming out. We're on League 6 already. I think me and you both. I don't know if you participate in the leagues or you just don't make content on it. I'm kind of like a neither in that camp.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel?
I've played some of the leagues. This one I started to play and then immediately burnt out, and it's because the start location was Varlamore, which I think is a great start location. But I have a Varlamore only account. So I just started to do the exact same thing I just done for the last year. I'm like, I can't do this. So that burnt me out immediately. But like, I think the league is really cool. This one, the demonic packs is a cool system, although probably could be refined a bit. And I think Varlamore is just like a better start location than Mistalin almost. And I think a lot of people don't know much about Varlamore. So I think it's a great way to introduce the region. I think that's kind of originally why they made it a Zaya league, is like just to get people into the new region to kind of integrate it more into the game.
Yeah, I feel like leagues to me, at least, many people in my audience already know how I feel about it, but it really does feel kind of like ADHD man mode, where it's just like going to task after task after task after task, and then you kind of. I feel like for me, I am. I don't know why I think of this, but I'm always in my head thinking why, like why am I doing this? Like,
Yeah.
so if I'm playing a league, it'll just encroach in my mind, and I'll be like, why am I doing this? And then I'll ultimately hit a point of like, I don't know why I'm doing this, and then I just burn out because I just don't understand the like objective. Whereas with normal RuneScape, it feels like you can't really. I mean, there is a why obviously to RuneScape too, but like at the same time, you get so lost in how many grinds that are so long term. It just feels like you just got to keep grinding. Whereas I don't know, the league just feels like you're bouncing between this and this and this and this, and it's an exhausting game mode for me, low key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, when I think my quit moment this league was, there was like, for some reason there's like 10 tasks to go pet a dog, and I went and pet a dog that I'd already got a task for, and the one I needed was actually like a 3-minute run the other direction. I'm like, I'm not running up there, and then I just never logged back in.
Oh my god.
And I did actually play Dead Man mode a little bit, but it's kind of hard to say if I played it because I literally just flip in Dead Man mode, so I never leave the safe zone. So it's kind of like I played it, but I didn't actually PvP.
Yeah.
But I did do. Were you in the
All-Stars?
Creator All-Stars? Yeah.
No. I mean, I was invited to the first one, but I didn't even like. I've never done Dead Man mode, so I was like, I don't really know how I feel about that.
Oh
Then
yeah,
I ended up regretting my decision. I should have just done it. It would have been fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, I had like 100 times XP, which is interesting, and then yeah, I mean, it was a complete clusterfuck to be honest, but it was really fun. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the one that was just earlier this year. I was thinking.
yeah, so they're not all stars. The I don't know, there's like 300 creators. There was just like a lot of people in there.
Yeah,
the Tyler one was on our team.
That one I was definitely busy for, and I was like, this feels very overwhelming for just like everybody kind of being in there, and it didn't really feel as special as like the solo missions first sort of tournament thing that had happened.
Yeah, so. No, it was a different vibe for sure.
Yeah. So let me, I guess, get your take on just temporary game modes. Do you think that they're coming out at a good pace? Do you think this is ideal? Do you have any suggestions as to how you would want to see temporary game modes going forward?
I would say they seem to be slightly too frequently. Like, I understand why they do them. They obviously, the player counts are booming when they happen, especially leagues. But I mean, we're with the two we have this year, we're essentially just getting two big main game updates, and like the leagues only thrive because the main game is doing well. So like I think if we focus too much on leagues, it kind of will cannibalize itself eventually. So like I would say a league every year and a half or 2 years would be my preference, but I'm also kind of biased because I just don't. It kind of fucks my schedule up when leagues happen. So I'm obviously I don't want them often, but people really do enjoy them. They definitely do peak the player counts. But I would say it does have an effect on the game long term, and I don't think we should be doing them like every year. And I don't think we should be doing a league and deadman mode every year. That seems too much to me.
Yeah. And I need to ask you this. I mean, this is one of my hobby horses. I don't talk about it as much as I probably would like to. I feel like I just get annoying with some of my hobby horses, but permanent new game modes, are you into that? Or are you more on the side of we already have enough permanent game modes? If you want to have your own, just make it unofficial.
Oh, like Ironman and Group Ironman and stuff like that?
Yeah, those types of things.
Nah, I like Ironman. I haven't played it that much, but I think those kind of editions are still the main game. Like people are playing differently, but it's permanent progress. They're stylistically similar, even though you do have to have different restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of like, I'm not sure, like Ironman obviously was a big one, Group Ironman, Hardcore Ironman. I don't know where you go from here. Like you can add in, I guess, actual area restricted Ironman. Like you can get more niche with it, which kind of would be cool, but I also don't know if there would be like take away some of the creativity by making these like hard lines. Like they had the idea of adding the high scores with like different restrictions to them, and it's cool seeing them, but it also feels like it kind of takes away from it a little bit too.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be very careful when it comes to making a new permanent game mode because like you were listing off, I mean, Iron Man, Ultimate Iron Man, Hardcore Iron Man, Group Iron Man, we have all these modes, and we even have high scores for different account builds, which is interesting, like the Pures and the Skillers. And so there's an argument, I think, one of the people that argues against it most is Tedious. He is always like, no, we already have enough. We don't want to clog up the high scores. And I'm like, first of all, who's even looking at the high scores? Who cares if they're a little bit more they're already clogged? It just feels... I feel like if you care about the high scores, you're going to look regardless. And if you don't, you're never going to look. And the modes I would love to see are not the really specific modes like chunk lock or task lock or anything like that, mainly because the game is always evolving. So if you have like, I don't know, some extreme chunk official build where it's like you can't leave this chunk until you do something, but then they add another update where all of a sudden that chunk becomes way easier.
Be a mess.
Yeah, it would just be really frustrating. But you can have a more broad sort of mode. Like one of the ideas was like Bronze Man mode, where you're an Iron Man and you can buy whatever you've actually already obtained yourself. So if you've ever gotten the item from any source besides obviously PKing, you can't. The Bronze Man mode with Iron Man would not include the PKing. You'd have to get all your stuff through PVM or skilling or whatever, and then you could just buy it on the Grand Exchange. So if you made a brew one time, you can now buy unlimited brews. If you got a God Sword, you can now buy unlimited God Swords and stuff. So it's sort of like that view. And I think what that satisfies are the people that don't like herb runs and don't like having to do their dailies and hourlies and stuff like that. But they want to have that Iron Man experience without all the chores and all the other things.
Yeah, I've seen that game mode, and it does look really cool. It seems like for some reason, pretty much everyone who's done it, except for I guess Goody, who kind of made it essentially, has PK'd. So it always kind of ends up being interesting, and then they just PK most of the items. I'm like, well, we're kind of back to a main account already. I think if you had to get them through their actual like intended method, and then you could just get more, that would be a cool mode.
Yeah, you just could not do it through PvP, unfortunately. And if you wanted to, just for a content series, you'd have to be unofficial, because it just makes no sense for your level 3 to go out there and punch your main to death, and he just drops all the shit you need for the account. It's like, okay, what was the point? The other mode is the Mithril Man mode, which I really love. It's basically just a massive group Iron Man where it's like you can trade and boss and do anything with all other Mithril men, but you're kind of like a sort of like segregated group that like does their own thing, but you can't use the grand exchange. So you can only, it's only trading among players. You can boss together. It's like its own little economy that's more tight knit, because you'd have to find like localized locations to trade, and there would be bank sales brought back and stuff, I imagine. And that sounds really exciting as well. And then of course there's the hardcore main mode, which there's two different variants. It would just be, one is in just the main game where you're just a hardcore main, and that's pretty much the extent of it. And then if you die, you just become a normal main account. But then there's like the hardcore main man mode on another server entirely, which is everybody on that world would have one life. And if you die on that world, you lose everything. And then you have the option of either just transferring that account over to the main game, because it would have all the same XP rates and all the same drop rates and everything like that. So it would just be a transfer over, or you could just choose to reset and just start over again from level 3, basically. And
that's cool. I like that last idea. That'd be cool. Like, just having an actual server separate would be like, you just go in and everyone died ever. Where like now on the hard, like if you go now, you could look at hardcores and you could look at Ironman and high scores who've died, but like you don't really know. You don't even know who's an Ironman unless they talk most of the time, unless you inspect them, which you do, of course. But
I would just love that. I mean, that is the mode that speaks to me the most too. It's just a hardcore main, and it feels so simple to add, and it feels so incredibly exciting. I mean, every content creator would jump on that immediately. You'd see all the PKers having the most high risk adventures out in the wilderness of all time, and then you'd also have all the skillers trying to make some money. You'd have swapping happening for sure, and because everyone's a main in that, so they're not just all hardcore Iron Man, they're hardcore mains. You can freely trade, you can freely use the grand exchange, you can do whatever you want, but every single person on there has one life.
Yeah, I think the idea of like a restricted main account in general is just like an interesting idea. Like I have a couple of series that kind of are that, but like without having an actual built-in framework, I always have to kind of contend with people being like, well, did you cheat? Which I would say I don't, but like there's no way to prove it. Where if you actually had systems in place, you could say 100% I did not cheat. And it would add a little more authenticity to it.
That's the main reason I love official game modes, is because there is no way of cheesing it. And I think most people value that sort of non-cheese. I mean, if there was just never an Iron Man mode and people just had to pretend like, yeah, I'm an Iron Man, like bullshit. Bullshit you are.
Yeah.
If people saw my main Iron Man, they'd be like, bullshit, you did not get all that stuff yourself. Stop it. So I do love these official, and we have not seen one since, I'm pretty sure it was literally Group Iron Man was the last game modes, right? Like official ones.
That was a long, it feels recent, but it must have been like 5 years ago. I don't know. It feels like it must have been a long time ago.
I think, wasn't Group Iron Man 2021?
Yeah, that has been a long time.
So I would love to see an additional permanent game mode. Plus, it would reignite my sort of drive to sort of compete in weird ways. I think there's always that sort of drive for people. I mean, we see it with the leagues, but imagine a new permanent mode where there is a fresh high scores for everybody to compete on. That sounds so exciting.
Yeah, we gotta save people from making their 10th hardcore Ironman.
Seriously, I've made
like how many times?
I've made a hardcore now, and I was one of those people that was avidly against making hardcores, because just remake Andy. You're just like, everybody just remakes as soon as you die, and it just becomes really tilting. So yeah,
they're great content, they're fun to watch, but I could not play one myself. I would just get too stressed out.
I'm playing one right now. I've pretty much been skilling on it for most of it, but we are about to enter a PVM phase, the
dangerous phase.
The only hardcore though that does speak to me truly is that hardcore main mode on separate servers. I would 100% play that. So all right, one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about was just the contrast between PVM updates and skilling updates. Now, I feel like you have a unique perspective on this because you do kind of see the market and you're analyzing the prices of things, and you're kind of a little bit more aware, I think, of the PVM scene. And I want to kind of get your take on how you see, at least, I mean, you can sort of take this wherever you want, but I would be curious to see sort of the economic perspective of when a skilling update launches, like a big skilling update versus a big PVM update, and how things sort of shift, and also just your overall thoughts and how you kind of see those updates, whether you would like to see more PVM updates or more skilling updates.
Yeah, I mean, just to answer that last part, right away, if a skilling update comes out, it's like pretty much nothing happens. Like, it's like that meme where like you're poking the thing on the ground and you're like, do something. But the PVM items are like the big updates are the biggest driver of like most market change.
Mm-hmm.
So they tend to have a much bigger impact, especially long term. But I would say the Jagex has actually done a better job of adding in skilling updates over the last couple of years. Like, there's some pretty notable ones that are not only profitable but just different. I mean, there was the Infernal Shale mining, which was interesting, although I think that maybe is not so profitable anymore. Just recently with sailing, they added in a really high level one, which was crafting dragon keel parts, which is like almost 400k an hour smithing experience, and it was like each time you do it, it was like 5 mil.
Oh my God.
There's a couple other really interesting skilling updates. Like, if you look at the profitability of skilling updates, there's like a couple now, or like a handful that are over like 3 or 4 mil. Like, you have the elf thieving and blood shard thieving. So like, comparatively to like maybe 5 years ago, there's actually some interesting options where previously you were just skilling for experience, or if you wanted to get 99 or whatever, and there wasn't really much of a other reason to do it. But with that said, PVM has definitely gotten the most love. I mean, like, we're kind of in PVM scape just in general, and I could kind of get why. I mean, PVM to me at least is the most fun and the most interested, and it kind of drives so much else in the game to, like, you have to level your skills, you have to level your combat, you have to get gear to do PVM. The chop a tree, you just need an axe, and that's like, well, you're done. So like, I see they definitely are correct in my opinion to focus on that. Obviously, people who are really into PvP would probably like some more PvP updates, but I'm pretty happy with the balance they've struck. I mean, I don't PvP at all, so obviously I wouldn't feel bad about the lack of those kind of updates.
You tested quite a few of those new sailing methods, like skilling methods. Was there one that spoke to you most? I know you made a video on it relatively or not too long ago.
A surprisingly good one was actually just crafting cotton, which is like you can do right away.
Yeah.
And you keep art essentially. And that was like almost 200k crafting experience an hour. Now, you probably lose money on it now, to be fair, but that was interesting. Mining lead is like insanely good. It might even be better than iron now, I think. Like, just doing tick manipulated lead. I think it's better than 3-tick granite. Maybe you would probably know better than I do, so I have no clue. But and what other things we do? Sailing did add in a lot of, it was a skilling update, so it added in mostly skilling methods. There was like, I smith copper-nickel bars at the blast furnace. That was actually surprisingly good. Other interesting things. I think I saw in a settled video, there's like now, for like the first time ever, there's like an anvil and a forge right beside each other. I'm like, well, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, you also tried out Port Roberts thieving. How did you like that? That seemed to be, it seems like Jagex understands that most players don't want to spam click their thieving XP, and they're trying to find different avenues that's still kind of engaging, yet still that classic sort of thieving where you're stealing from stalls. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I like Port Roberts a lot, actually. And it kind of just covers all the levels, which is nice. So like, you can go there right away and get somewhat competitive XP. And it's like a great Ironman update too. Like, I've been playing a group Ironman with my friends a little bit, and I was like, I just want to get there so I can get the gem stall, so I can just get gems. And there's like other things that are nice about it too. And also another interesting one was doing like a construction update. You could make the ship parts at the shipwright, and
Yeah.
you get AFK construction experience. Now you're going to pay a lot of money for that now, but like you can, it's actually a big update to construction that was kind of just under the radar.
Yeah, for real. And it's super, super chill. And if you're an Iron Man, I can't say it's 100% worth, but it is cool that you can like alch repair kits, for example, for pretty much your money back to make the planks again. So
You do need a disgusting amount of those planks to make your boat. I don't know why you need so many. You need like like
400.
hundreds
Yeah.
of 400. Yeah, it's like, come on.
Yeah, 400 planks and 600 nails, especially when you're looking at like, I mean, I literally just yesterday made an ironwood hull for my sloop on this account, and it took a fucking minute because making ironwood planks first is like really expensive. And then you got to also get runite nails. And luckily I had the smithing level to boost for it, but like that's no joke. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad it sort of thematically makes sense how many planks you would need to literally build a full size ship. I mean, that makes sense why it would be like 400. But
yeah, they kind of pick and choose when they have realism in the game.
they really do.
This boat will require the accurate amount of planks, but you can throw chinchillas at things to get more ranged experience.
Yeah, for real. And then you can just use like 2 planks to build like or 6 planks to build like a full on table and just destroy it again and just build it again.
Yeah.
Destroy it. And no nails required or anything else, just the planks. So yeah, it's very odd. You know what really bothers me though is when I see these new skilling updates from sailing, and they just suck. Like they are just objectively terrible, and it's like nobody tested it or nobody cares that they're bad. So one of the goofiest grinds I've decided to go for on my hardcore is the rosewood blowpipe, which by the way, needs to be looked at already, because the fact that it only shoots adamant darts is just tilting beyond control. I mean, you have the camphor blowpipe, the ironwood blowpipe, and the rosewood blowpipe from level 45, 55, and 65 range. And you need 92 wood cutting just to get a rosewood log, or you need like some super high sailing level to be able to like salvage those logs. And in order to salvage those logs, you'd also have to have like additional requirements just to get a ship that can go in those waters to go to the salvaging spots that have those logs in the first place. So it's this massive requirement. And the camphor one at level 45 shoots only up to mithril darts, which is, I guess that's reasonable. The next one only shoots up to adamant, and then the rosewood one only shoots up to adamant too. And then we have a blowpipe that shoots 3 tiers of darts higher: rune, amethyst, and dragon. So why are we like limiting it so hard? I'm just thinking to myself, like, if the rosewood blowpipe alone could shoot up to amethyst, you'd all of a sudden be in a much healthier position with how long that grind takes to get a blowpipe, and it should be good. And then the other one should shoot up to rune, and the other one should shoot up to adamant, in my personal opinion. Whoever wants to shoot mithril darts ever, like at anything.
They positioned it really weirdly, and like I'm pretty sure the rosewood blowpipe, or maybe one of the lower tier ones, is pretty much equivalent to like a sunlight hunter's crossbow on most things. So it's like you get a sunlight hunter's crossbow with like 60 whatever hunter, and it's so much easier to get
a day.
Yeah, like I guess they felt like they had to. The logs had to be high level, so then the fletching had to be high level. So I don't know. The whole way they positioned it is weird. I feel like we have a few of those situations in RuneScape where the skill requirements are just totally messed up and there's no easy way to fix it. But like sailing, they were making it they had the chance, they just made it. Like they could have fixed that. It wasn't in the game yet, but I mean like the Rancor and Zenites, like I don't even know how to fix that, and like smithing is all completely fucked. But I don't know if it would be nice to get it reworked, but I just don't know if it's worth the effort. Like it's fine now. I feel like I may just break something.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, can we just make these things good? I mean, they're not going to outclass the blowpipe, and believe it or not,
make it good.
Like the blowpipe itself is not even that difficult to get, even for an Iron Man. I mean, seriously, if you were to kind of just rush to Zulrah on an Iron Man from scratch, you would get to Zulrah much faster than you would getting to 92 wood cutting and however goddamn high of sailing you need. And then you got to get your fishing up just to get a squid beak, which, by the way, fishing squids is the most terrible thing I've ever done in this game. It was terrible because the fishing spot is default 6 tick, and I was tick manipulating the entire thing, and I was rocking, and I already have 91 fishing, so this should have been fast. I had my full spirit outfit on. I had spirit flakes even just to get double catches occasionally. That shit still took me like 2 hours, and I was full tick manipulating the whole time. And when you start cutting the fish to get the squid beak, it's not like one of those things where you can spam the knife with the fish. No, you have to click the knife on the fish and then wait every 3 ticks for one to chop, and there's no way of speeding it up, and you get 2 cooking XP. 2.
Yeah.
Just 2. Like, why not just crank it up? Who cares? Like, I don't understand why they like are so like just unbelievably careful with how much XP you get from these things. I'm like, dude, I was getting, with tick manipulation, I was getting 20k fishing XP an hour with tick manipulation. That would have been 10k, and then the cooking XP was like 500 XP an hour. It was just, what are we doing here?
That one's weird because the squids aren't even that good. Like, it's like the actual food source is terrible. And like the thing they get into is super niche. And like also the whole method behind getting the beaks is weird. Like, I don't know if you realize if you use it on your chum spreader or whatever it is, it gives you, it's a 5 times less likely to get one. But when you do get one, you get 5 at a time. It's like, that just makes no sense. It feels like they just tried a whole bunch of different random systems that just have no explanation. But yeah, the lantern fishing is weird. Is squid fishing lantern?
It is lantern, yeah. You just gotta hold any lantern in your hand, which is
that was also disappointing. I'm like, oh, I thought we were gonna do something with a lantern. It's like, no, you just put it in your offhand.
Yeah.
And then not drift net fishing, the deep sea trawling was like interesting, but it's so click intensive, and the experience is also like garbage.
Yeah.
And at least you get a good fish from it, but it's like, I don't know, they could have cranked the XP up a little bit. Like, it's so click intensive.
Yeah, they should have at least upped, at bare minimum, the fishing XP per hour, like a lot higher. But I will say I am very pleased with how much fish you get per hour. I was honestly, when I heard of marlin and halibut, I was like, dude, like before sailing had dropped, I was like, there's no way you're gonna catch this stuff fast. If anglerfish are like however many an hour, like 100, I don't even know how many anglerfish you can get an hour, like full AFK. But I was just thinking, if there's a fish better than that, this is gonna be terrible to get. But yet they cranked it up. I think you can get like 400 to 500 marlin an hour or something, which is just nuts.
Yeah, it's super good. I mean, if you spam click every tick, then you I think I got up to like 600.
Yeah,
but it's like,
that's crazy.
I just don't want to click every single second.
Yeah.
It's like, give me like, it's supposed to be the nice chill line you go in, but you have to like spam your net the whole time. It's nice. I mean, more inputs equal more fish, but like it doesn't.
But it's not fun input because you have to click this microscopic net, and most of the time you're clicking it, you're also trying to also sail at the same time, and it just becomes this sort of annoying thing. And if you have like the little crystal extractor and everything else there, it's like there's just too many little tiny microscopic click boxes all bunched up right there, and it's very odd.
Oh yeah, the hitbox is a mess. I have to have like indicators on, or you're just like constantly unhinging your sail, and you're just like getting frustrated.
Overall, though, I think deep sea trawling, I'm quite pleased with, only because of the amount of fish. If it wasn't a good enough amount of fish, it would be terrible. But I'm at least glad for an Iron Man, at least Iron Man's perspective. I love how many fish you can get per hour.
What method do you use to recognize the depth? I use the just spam it down until it makes a ding noise method, but you can also like, do you look at the animation or the chat box?
I think there was actually just a plugin I just did, and it just said which one it is, and so you just drop it.
Oh hell yeah, that'd be way better.
Yeah, because I recall on your video when you were talking about it, I don't know if you've done any since, but I remember you were kind of saying you hadn't done much deep sea trawling. But yeah, there's plugins now for all this stuff. I want to get your take on PVM items that completely get overshadowed by additional updates that come out very soon after. So what I mean by that is like the Sanguinesti. Or the
literally going to say that.
Yeah, the Sanguinesti or the Harmonized staff even, and even like, I mean, just kind of irrelevant stuff as well, like Just Assure. I wonder, I oftentimes will hear takes on Reddit and stuff of people just saying, oh yeah, it's okay if items have no use. It's whatever. It's just kind of like the game. And in my view, I'm like, why can't items have a use? I mean, literally all it takes in almost every situation is just very, very small tweaks to the stats of things to make it feel worth without breaking anything, without changing any metas and stuff. But it's just like there's very clearly items in the game that could just do a little bit of tweaking to put them in a much better spot. I want to hear your take on that. And especially, you know, I watched your most recent video showing how much the Sanguinesti has plummeted in price. And it makes perfect sense why. And I just wonder, do you have an issue with items just completely getting turned into the garbage bin because other items just overshadow them?
Yeah, so for the Sanguinesti, I mean, I would argue that alongside Rapier and pre-changed Inquisitor, stuff like that, was just from an era where like super scared about any kind of power creep. So I would argue the Sang Staff was always just kind of bad. Like it was marginally better than the Trident, but it was the best option still. So now we have like, you got the Eye of Vayak, the Shadow. It is pretty much useless. So in this case, yeah, I think that the Sang we should try to put it into like the niche that it heals you. And like there's some, we just need like, what was it? It doesn't heal you in one of the raids in like TOA or something against Wardens. And like, I think we should lean more into, apparently it doesn't on like one of the phases. I'm like, but why? So yeah, some items are just, I don't think they were ever good. Just this year, again, it does kind of fill a niche, but it kind of has more of the issue that like defense is just not that useful in most content, and you're usually better off killing something faster. And but like there's other items where like there has been power creep, like the whip, for example. Like there's tons of weapons that are better than the whip, but I think in some cases that's okay as long as it's balanced around how you obtain it and for a main game how expensive it is. Mm-hmm. So like I think if an item comes into the game that's just objectively a bit better, but it's a 100 mil item and the other one's like 5 mil item, then that's fine. It still kind of fits into the progression ladder. And for Iron Man, obviously the way you'd obtain it would kind of be more relevant. But I think if we like the Fang was kind of for me like almost problematic because it's cheap and it just totally overshadows most other weapons, honestly.
Yeah.
And so items like that, I think if for that reason items become obsolete, I don't think that's a very good reason. We should try to keep niches for it. So I would say my answer is kind of it depends, which is a bit of a cop-out, but like, yeah, some items just do need to be tweaked a bit, and others I think are fine as long as they still fit into the kind of progression somewhere.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself about the Sanguinesti. I mean, one, that thing should be healing everywhere, for one. I didn't even know that. I actually never ended up pulling a Sanguinesti on my main iron. That was the one thing I never ended up getting at Tob, which was fine because I got a harmonized and a shadow and everything. But
it also just feels bad for like a raid like Tob, where like almost all the uniques now are like under 30 mil. So it's like I just think it's bad long-term health for the raid, especially to have a bunch of items that are worth. Like TOA is almost falling down that way too, and like Chambers is the only one with somewhat consistent purples. Like obviously the mega rare is going to make up most of it, but like, yeah, I feel like you should still be excited to get a purple, not just like disappointed every other time it's not a mega rare.
Yeah, and like the Sanguinesti, it's one of these things. This is how I feel about items going forward, is just, can we just make some necessary adjustments to an item's stats if it really is falling through the wayside, and there's clear reasons why. I mean, we have 3 other magic weapons that are just better than the Sanguinesti, and this came from Raids 2. It was supposed to be like the best mage weapon, and now it's just crappy. Why not just like, well, one, it costs 3 blood runes per cast, which is absurd when you think about the other better staves that are cheaper in a way. Like, it's
really expensive.
It's very expensive, and it's like I think it's a 1 in 6 chance to heal. Like, why not just say, okay, we're gonna make the Sanguinesti again? This is I'm just spitballing. It could be a variety of different options they could go forward. One, you could just make it, because I think on release, what they made it is that it just had 1 max hit over the toxic trident, so it made it best in slot. I actually love that gear progression low key. Like, I love it when stuff just gets slightly better, but it's still best in slot. That's the way I like it. But I know many players like huge power increases. But you could just say these days, okay, why don't we just up the base damage of a Sanguine SCBI one additional max hit, so it has a nicer kind of progression upward, and then just make it so the healing effect is like a 1 in 4 chance instead of a 1 in 6. I mean, people really struggle. I mean, the people that even used the Sanguine SC back then, before there was a shadow and other things, they'd get so tilted doing solo chambers and trying to heal, and it just won't heal. And I mean, you could even make it so the Sanguine SC just guarantees a heal every successful hit. It guarantees a 1 heal every single time you guarantee hit, plus the 1 in 6 chance of a good heal, you know, something like that, where it's like, okay, this weapon actually has some utility. If you want to be healed, if you want to have your HP high, you can use this. It's still going to be worse than the Shadow and the IAC and whatever else, but like, you still have that chance. I just, again, it's just these like little teeny adjustments. But then again, playing devil's advocate with myself, it's like, do people, because this wouldn't be a standalone fix. I mean, it could be, but I would also say there's other items that need adjustments as well. And do we get to a point where items kind of become unfamiliar because there's so many changes being made over time that we kind of forget what even does what? I just wonder if that's
I think an interesting change that Jagex made a while ago was buffing the Elder Maul. So that was like introducing a new best in slot from an existing item, which I think is an interesting idea. Like, obviously, I don't think they should do that for everything, because they just have no new items. But yeah, that was a pretty big refresh for that item. It literally went from like a 20 mil item to like 150, as like, it's rare to begin with, obviously, but like, it's now the best in slot defense reduction. So I think we could do that with some items, like a refresh. I don't know if we have to go make them best in slot in all cases, but yeah, like you said, there are some very minor tweaks that you can do to things. Yeah, I will say I honestly kind of miss the Sang staff, even though I just can't use it mentally because I know it's not as good. But like the healing was nice.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I lost it, I just realized I was just like, I was missing something. And my health was just getting chunked the whole time.
Yeah.
And I have IAC, it's better, but it's so annoying to use. The like 3-tick attack is like, I feel like on paper it is better, but if you aren't using it properly, it probably is just worse, because if you miss an attack every 10 seconds or 5 seconds maybe, then I don't know, it might be closer.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I mean, I think that's actually part of the beauty of having odd speeds with weapons, and even just faster speeds in general, is it does take more skill to utilize, which is another reason why I've always been an advocate for mega rares being faster, because when you have every mega rare being a 5-tick speed, it's so easy to maintain that DPS, and it's so easy for like a noob to just roll up with a mega rare and just deal huge amounts of damage. But if they were fast, like 2 or 3-tick weapons for future mega rares, I mean, it would take some serious skill to not lose ticks and to really maintain that DPS properly.
What do you think? What is your guess that the raid 4 like uniques are going to be? Like, they kind of indicate a little bit, like probably a melee mega rare.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think the less impactful items would be? Like the niche ones.
I mean, the thing I really would want to see, so just in regards to mega rare, because it most likely will be a melee weapon, I would love to see a 2 or 3-tick melee weapon that is just like maybe crush based, and it's just explosive and it's really super fun to use.
It is weird that the easiest weapon to use is the strongest. Yeah, it would make kind of more sense to have a higher skill ceiling, slower or higher attack speed weapon.
Yeah. But in regards to additional weapons or additional gear that's introduced, there's several different options. I mean, one of the options that was presented, which I don't think is fitting for Raids 4, but it would be fitting for like a sort of moons type thing, is an elemental mage armor. So like elemental robes that just have like a base, I don't know, 10% or 15% additional multiplicative sort of damage when using elemental spells. So it kind of gives elemental spells even a bigger boost, and it kind of just is that sort of horizontal progression where you have like Virtus doing good to Ancient, you have Ancestral, which is just overall good, and then you have like the elemental robes, which would be really cool to see. But for Raids 4, I don't think that is quite fitting, and I would personally love to see, this was an idea, I can't remember who brought it up, but it's basically like an assassin's armor, which would have best in slot strength. It would be better than Torva, but it would lack defense. It would just it would basically have almost 0 defense, And so it would be this like really giga armor where you will take a lot of damage doing it. And it could even potentially per piece have negative flat armor to the point where like if you do get hit, you will just take additional damage on top of what you were already taking. So
Yeah, that'd be cool because like content where you take chip damage, it would just be terrible. But like other content where you can just pray against everything, it could be like best in slot. So yeah, that is an interesting niche you could kind of fill.
and it's from a raid. So if anybody's thinking, no, we want Torva to be the best, like this is raids 4. Why not have a very unique set that feels like, again, some sort of assassin's armor that's just basically cloth that's like imbued, basically, that you're just owning things with. That would be very unique. And it could be,
Yeah.
it could even have some effect where like the faster the weapon, the better it does. So like using this assassin's armor with a scythe isn't actually going to be as good as using this assassin's armor with, let's just say the mega rare is a 3-tick melee weapon. The 3-tick melee weapon or the 4-tick would be better to use because, you know, there's some sort of effect that's making it so faster attacking weapons are better to use with that. And any slower things, you would just be way better off with Torva. So just kind of unique niches like that I would love to see. And then of course I would love to just see a new melee prayer. I would love to see a like level 85 or level 90 prayer that is just basically a slight upgrade to piety. I don't want to see anything explosive. I don't want to see some like turmoil or whatever. I want to see like a piety 2.0. I think piety right now gives 23% additional strength, 20% attack, and 25% defense. I would love to just see this one just go 5 up from that. So 28% strength, 25% accuracy, and 30% defense. So it's like very minimal, but it still is best in slot and it would still be the thing you use everywhere, but you're not going to feel like crap if you don't have it. I think that's something that's important.
That's a good one because I feel like that would be like the final like capstone prayer, kind of fit in with Arcane and Dex because you actually have to unlock those by getting a drop.
Yep. Yeah.
Another interesting, this one I think is actually maybe coming to the game. I have no idea. It was the winner for the Sailing Island submission. I don't know if you looked at that, but there's like a boss on there where it's going to drop a weapon. Yeah, Worms Craig. Yeah, the boss is dropping a weapon that will have different effects based on the combat style you're set to. It's like aggressive or defensive will have like an actual different effect for the weapon.
Ooh.
Which is an interesting way to balance it. Is you kind of switch between, I don't remember what they do, but it's more so just the fact that you could have different effects based on switching that. Now it sounds kind of ass having to go into that menu to switch around a lot, which I think would be nice to avoid in general, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, let me look at this. Actually, I have it pulled up right here. Let me link it to you as well. Is because this is coming to the game. I can't remember if everything is going to be introduced.
Yeah,
or they said they would kind of like pick and choose.
Fallen Angel, I think, or
is that it? The mini boss, the Mad Angel. So yeah, the perfect parry is like really cool for that. Is this the?
Yeah, I love perfect parry.
So the weapon is the Alicia's blade. So yeah, cut is fast attack speed, low accuracy. Half sword, medium attack speed, high accuracy, and murder stroke. Very slow attack speed, increased damage. If your hit leaves the target below 10 HP, another 10 damage is immediately dealt and your next attack delay is reduced.
To be honest, only the last one seems to actually have a unique effect. The other ones kind of seem mostly normal, but yeah, it's kind of an interesting reward space. So that looks like it's more a mid-game weapon almost.
Yeah, but it's kind of speaking to these ideas. Now, I will just say straight up, I'm against weapons that have varying attack speeds, mainly because
they're very clunky.
Well, one, it's clunky, but two, it's like just bring another weapon with you. Like if you wanted a slow hitting weapon, just bring your Elder Maul with you, or bring whatever else and just do that switch instead of going to your gear tab or instead of going to your attack style tab and like switching between the two. Like that just feels more odd than just bringing a secondary weapon. So and we've seen other additional ideas like that little chain thing that like extends farther. I don't know if you've ever seen that idea on Reddit. There's like this,
right. I think I did see that.
Changes different speeds and stuff. But I'm always against the speed changes. But I would absolutely love a weapon that has that like final blow potential. That's just because one of the most tilting things in RuneScape is when an enemy has 1 HP and you hit 3 zeros on it. And it's like, dude, die already. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's because we have like we have a special attack weapon that's good to use when they're full HP, being like the Zerai. But there's not a lot of finishing weapons. Like I kind of finish things with a Fang just because accurate, but that only works on some things, and it's not like a special attack. But yeah, it'd be cool to have like a dedicated like just bop finish it off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, man, I even think, what if there was, again, because in most situations, that just isn't like a weapon that does deal a final blow is most likely not going to be brought anyway, because for the most part, you're just not going to want to bring an additional item that only has one
No.
very niche use. So what I think would need to happen, that this is an idea, I want to hear your take on this, is I would love to see these sorts of like, again, this is like sort of like separate to the idea, but I'd love to see, and this is an idea brought up by other players as well, of like these blessing slots that actually have legitimate uses. So we have blessing slots right now, but I do think we should just have an additional gear slot in the gear tab that's above your cape. And that would be where blessings go from now on. And so you'd have like these additional blessings that just have these minor effects that can just help you out. And one of the effects I thought would be cool is if you could have like your thralls always deal their max hit if the enemy has that much HP left. So for example, if an enemy has 3 HP left and you have a thrall out, the thrall will not hit a 0 or a 1 or 2. It will hit the 3. It will guarantee finish it off, because again, one of the most tilting things I see in Inferno speed runs, especially years back, especially, but like would just see like there's an enemy with 1 HP, like a little mini blob left, and the thrall hits it a 0 twice, and it's like, dude, like what is happening here? Like we gotta have some sort of intelligence with these thralls where it's like, okay, I'm gonna full on murder this thing if it has 3 HP or less. And I think, again, like that would just be cool if thralls did that in general, but I do think if it was some sort of like blessing or something where you could like swap them between, that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I think having like the agency to do it would be nice, because yeah, it is so tilty. And like even yesterday, I was doing Doom, and like I'm attacking him. He has 1 HP left. I'm like, I'm not gonna hit the Unraveled Earth. It's fine. Like he'll die. And then I missed like 5 times, just immediately die.
So
yeah, having a way to just like guarantee a little bit of damage. Yeah, I think we definitely could do stuff with the blessing slot. I mean, right now, or not, it's not with the ammo slot.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much like the prayer bonus is nice, but it's essentially nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, moving away from the ammo slot would be good, because like right now, if you have a quiver and you can put a blessing in there, I think, but like it's a bit weird because anyway, having a separate slot would be nice. I guess you'd have to be. It does feel like they would be kind of mini buffs, just like thematically based on the slot. But yeah, it'd be nice to have actual effects, not just like, oh, it's a +2 range strength blessing or whatever, which could be fine. But like, it seems like an actual area where you could put in, like an actual unique effect instead of just being like a stat stick.
Yeah, there's so many cool effects that are so minor, and they would all have very powerful things. I mean, one of the things you could do is like, one of the effects could be if you're using a poison or a venom weapon, what the effect could do is once you've poisoned something, it insta poisons it. It's like you'll see the insta poison splat. It won't be like an effect later down the line, because I feel like some of the time you'll poison an enemy and you don't even know it's poisoned yet until 15 ticks later.
That was just a bonus. That doesn't help that nothing in the game can be venomed or poisoned. So I'm always surprised when it's poisoned. I'm like, oh, neat.
Venom. Okay, I'm sorry, but like legitimately, Venom needs to be reworked, I think, entirely.
Yeah, it would be too broken.
Because one, it's too broken, and what ends up happening because it's too broken is that like almost no enemies have Venom, like or they're immune to Venom entirely. And it's like, if we had just made Venom so it's like, it starts at 3 and then it goes to 4 or 5 and then it goes to 7 and then it goes to 9 and then it caps at like 11 or 13, or just something that's a little bit more contained, not just straight up to 20 and then 20s over and over and over. It's like, you got to have something a little bit more contained, and then you can make it so enemies actually can be venomed. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, no, it'd be fun to do. And like, it both feels bad to be venomed, because it's like if you don't have anti-venom, you just have to teleport out pretty much. Yeah. And if you attempt to venom something, it just probably won't work, except for like 5 bosses or something, or at least 5 bosses that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's on the list of like we probably should change that.
They've nerfed Venom so hard too. I mean, I remember killing lava dragons out in Lava Dragon Isle, and I had my Toxic Trident with my Serp Helm on, and I wanted to start venoming these dragons and have like 3 of them on me. If you leave the aggro range of one of the dragons while it's venomed, like it'll literally be hitting like 14s on it. And then you leave the aggro range and it just starts wandering off, and then you re-hit it again. It is now completely immune to venom, and it has gotten rid of its venom effect. So it can't be re-venomed, and it also has completely removed its venom effect just because you literally moved 1 tile out of its aggro range.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think they're afraid of just people cheesing bosses, but like, yeah, they just need to make it a little less strong.
That's exactly the point. Like we just have to like really dial in. And again, like the spitball idea of whatever I brought up is not well thought out at all. But there's 100% if we just got some people to sit down and just think of how could Venom work properly in this game, that would be really cool. And you could actually introduce more Venom blades and stuff that actually have legitimate use. And then instead of making it so enemies are immune to it, make it so it's like 50% immune. So it's like, okay, your Venom's still going to do a little bit, but only half as much. Instead of just
or they could
all or
add
nothing.
monsters in that gain health from Venom. That would be funny.
Ooh, that would be really
I mean, that would be the easiest thing to play around ever, but
yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
also the blessings would be interesting to have. The what was it, the prayer upgrades, the like Gothic Saradomin,
Yes,
they were going to be like there's just like 4 of them, and they're going to add them onto your prayer book. Well, maybe that could be an item you have to gain access to them.
see, I wanted to actually hear your take, because you're the one that was asking about raids for uniques, and that's one of the things. I mean, the raid is literally called the Fractured Archive, and people have been assuming that this is where we're going to start seeing the God prayers come out. What are your thoughts?
I think that's a good idea. Like it would seem like a big miss not to have at least something that you read. Like the other chambers has some scrolls. This one's a literal library. Like it would feel. I feel like there's going to at least be one item like that, whether it be the God prayers or, like you mentioned, a piety upgrade or something. Probably only one item though. I don't think they're going to add in like a bunch of different readable things. For the other items, I just hope they have something unique. Like, yeah, sure, we added another armor set. That's what they said they're probably going to do. And I'm assuming those are definitely coming. But like for the other items, like the lidness wards and the twisted bucklers and whatever, or like that tier, I hope it's at least like an interesting effect and not just kind of another niche item to fill. Like, so, I don't know exactly what, but I'm hoping we get something kind of exciting in those slots.
Yeah. Oh man. What are your thoughts on a secondary ring slot? Have you ever considered that? I know there's people that are talking about it.
I thought about it. I feel like we have a bit of a like issue with the rings already. Like, I don't know, like I guess that would maybe fix it, but like the light bearer is so busted. Like almost all the time I'm just wearing a light bearer. Like, yes, the Desert Treasure 2 rings are better in some places, except like the Venator ring. I don't even know when I ever used the Venator ring, or I have. So I guess if you had added a second ring slot that allow you to have both of them at the same time, so that would kind of fix that problem. But I feel like you maybe shouldn't be allowed to just wear 2 of the same ring.
Yeah,
I feel like there'd have to be like, it would just be a pretty big power increase for
massive.
what essentially mostly right now is just stats on rings. Like there's not. I don't know if it would really do much. I think it's the bigger issue is just kind of fixing how the light bearer interacts with the other rings.
Yeah, I always, again, this is one of the things that were brought up in other casts, and it's sort of similar to the blessing slot. When I'm talking about the blessing slot, I'm talking about like it's completely separated from the ammo slot now. The ammo slot will always just be an ammo slot, and then there's a blessing slot above your cape area. And then I was even thinking, and this is something that was talked about with some of my guests, is like a secondary ring slot, but going forward, we start introducing rings with effects rather than raw stats. So more light bearers, more types of things like that are just completely do not have any stats to it, but have some cool effect. I mean, even something that's just like a ring that's like a passive healer, or even a ring that like passively heals your prayer points very, very slowly. Like things that are interesting that aren't just direct stat upgrades. Because then you could have like a ring slot that is for stats and a ring slot that's for like effects. But again,
Yeah.
that kind of just goes back to the blessing slot, and then why even have a second ring slot anyway?
Do you remember when TOA was coming out and they proposed the rewards? People, for one, thought the light bearer was mostly going to be a skilling ring. They're like, people can use it to get more Dragon Axe specs or whatever.
Yep.
And people thought it was going to be terrible, but it's actually one of the most busted items from any raid.
Yeah.
So I think it is a cool item, and I think having effects like that. And I think, yeah, we'd have like an actual skilling ring. I mean, I know there's like the celestial ring or whatever, but like something beyond just giving you like an invisible skilling boost, like something that actually does something. So if there was a second ring slot, I would mostly lean towards those kind of effects, because I don't like the combat rings we already have a lot of, and maybe other ring to kind of balance it.
You know what's interesting is like the light bearer back in over 5 years ago, I was talking to Tasty Life on the cast, and that was actually where the idea I think was originated. We were talking about the ring of specs, is what we were going to call it. And my idea at the time was to make the light bearer even more broken than it already was.
Oh, it's your fault.
Yeah, no, I mean, seriously. But luckily it got tamed a little bit, but I was genuinely thinking like, okay, ring of specs, it would have a double, spec regen, but it would also up your spec, like charge thing to 120. So you could basically, as long as that ring is equipped, your spec would go up to 120. As soon as it's unequipped, it goes back to 100. And then if you re-equipped it, it'd have to like recharge back up to 120 again. But that would allow you in some situations where a spec takes like 60% to be able to rock this ring and then do like double specs.
Double spec.
Yeah.
Do you think the light bearer is too strong, or the high end other rings are just too weak? Like I've considered using an altar before over in light bearer, but I've never considered a Venator or even a Magus ring, really.
Oh, I mean, 100%. I mean, almost every ring has their niche. I think the Venator ring is the one that is just needs to be looked at because it's just not good enough. Because
the problem is it doesn't give a max hit.
Yeah, and I mean, it could in some situations if you're rocking some different weird gear. But the problem is with range is most of the time range weapons do have a spec option, and you're much better off. Like if you have a ZCB, you're much better off just ZCBing extra like specs rather than just having like maybe an extra max hit. So, but I mean, 100%. I actually think the light bearer sits in a pretty good in a pretty good spot, because on Sae Bae, when I used to play it actively, I actually barely ever used the light bearer low key. Like I was always using the Ultor or even the Bellator sometimes for Duke, for example. And yeah, actually, you know what would be kind of interesting? What if there was a ring actually that just straight up allowed you to, it didn't restore your spec faster, like twice as fast, but what it did is it allowed it to just cap higher. So what if your spec bar was able to cap at like 150? There's nothing other than that. It just allows you to hold more spec like that.
Yeah, I mean, disable in PvP, and I think that's okay.
But I'm just thinking to myself, is it even broken in PvP? Because again, it's like a one-time use, and then it's not a light bearer anymore. You know what I mean? It's like you just have like that one thing where it can be charged up to 150, but that's literally the entire extent of it.
So you couldn't like really use it again after in a short period of time.
I mean, I guess it would be annoying for rushers, but that's the only thing I could. They'd have to make some sort of like thing for PvP potentially, but I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, in situations where you're hitting the pool a lot, and you would just want a spot where you could do triple specs like Corp or something. That could be kind of interesting.
Yeah, one of the additions I've liked a lot is actually double death charge. I think a lot of these opinions I have on this ring is basically because I'm only doing the Coliseum and Doom. So it's like I'm essentially only using the light bearer.
Yeah.
Actually, the Coliseum I've started using a melee ring, but like I think in a lot of content you're not killing, like it's just not as effective. But like now with the light bearer double death charge, like you get like your spec back instantly.
Yeah.
So like almost double death charge is almost nerfed to the light bearer, because like in a lot of content you just don't need it back that fast. Like the Doom being the one exception where it's like you just want infinite spec. But like, yeah, it's it's cool. I think spec is just a cool way to make combat more, just more fun. And like, oh, we also got the surge pots too. Yeah, there's honestly so much to do with spec now.
Yeah. Surge pots are cool. You know what I want to see? I want to see them. Arceus Spellbook has had so many great additions and so many OP additions. I would love to see them do that with Lunars. I would love to see Vengeance get an additional buff, and it would have to be a PVM only thing. I would even say, what if there was like a sort of double Vengeance thing where it's like an upgrade to the Vengeance spell that allows you to sort of do a double Venge, where like one of the Venges does 100% of the Venge damage back, or like whatever it currently is, and then the other one does 50% of it, but it's only to monsters that are 2x2 or larger. And you could even make it so the Vengeance actually scales upward over time. So it kind of has this half-life effect where as large as the enemy is, that's how many additional kind of like ever reducing Venges it does. So if it's like a 4x4 monster, it technically, when the monster hits you, it'll do 4 Venges back, but one does 100%, the next one does 50, the next one does 25, the next one does 12%. And it just kind of like scales down, but it's like this big fat sort of explosion on stuff. I would love to see more of that. Like that would be so cool to see a Vengeance actually look like this explosive kind of thing against the enemy.
That would be cool. And like, again, it suffers from like you just can't venge some things, which is also really unintuitive.
Yeah, so it's annoying.
Like, I don't know how they balance that, but like, yeah, there's no rhyme or reason behind that. Sometimes you avenge things, and I don't even know why. Like, I get it. It is a lot of damage, but at the same time, you have to tank the damage. It's not like it's free.
And thralls deal more damage anyway already.
Yeah.
And I hate when they make it so Vengeance doesn't work against stuff, and I hate it when recoil doesn't work against stuff. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much across the board, I hate when there's just an unintuitive thing that just exists for no reason, which is like PvP. It's like it's just, the only way you can know is if you're really locked in on the community, and it's like probably pretty damaging for like just the more average player, because you just have no idea what the fuck's going on.
You're absolutely right. There's so many weird niche cases and stuff. Like, it's weird.
I still get confused when I teleport into the wilderness. I'm like, why does my spell book look different? Like every time it takes me a second. I'm right.
I was actually just so my girlfriend had a rev task, and so I was discording her, and she's like doing her revs and stuff, and she's very, very low level. So I was like, oh yeah, maybe just kill the goblins or the whatever it is, and she just like had a quick task to do, and she killed like one of the goblins, and she got one of those blighted anglers. It's like, ooh, cool, I'll just like overheal. First of all, anglers are the weirdest scaling food of all time. Like, I think her hit points were like not even 50 yet, so the angler's only healing like 8, which is really weird. But it didn't work. Like, it didn't overheal, because now revs are the weird off case where it actually does allow you to eat an angler before the 10 seconds has elapsed, but in most situations you can't overheal with an angler unless you've been out of combat for 10 seconds. And it's like,
I didn't know that at all. That's so weird.
It's so annoying. So if you bring blighted anglers out in the wilderness, you must be out of combat for a long time. Revs are the one exception where as long as the rev is actually dead and then you're not under combat, you can eat a blighted angler and actually heal up to full. But in every other situation, you must be out of combat for 10 seconds. But brews work, but just not anglers. For no reason. That's
so weird. Like when we were doing the 300 person creator tournament, some people were just giving us a lowdown on some of the weird things in the wilderness. I'm like, I didn't know about half of these. This makes no sense. I'm going to forget this immediately. So
the wilderness has become such an annoying place, and there's a reason why that place is dead and everyone hates it. And I guess partially for my audience and just also for you, I've been very much kind of advocating for this sort of rework to the wilderness, which is like the PvP/wilderness coffer, which basically allows Iron Men to have some sort of incentive to fight back, which I do think is the biggest plague on the wilderness, is the fact that like half the community plays Iron Man modes, and they have zero incentive to fight back basically, and so you're just like a loot pinata and nobody wants to be out there anymore. But if this update were to like actually come to the game, and there's a lot of my audience has heard this idea ad nauseum, so I won't go over it necessarily, but Mod Banked and other big creators and other JMods have actually been discussing this idea internally, and there's a pretty high chance, it looks like, that this will be coming into the game. And I really do think that when this sort of system comes into place, which basically allows you to die out in the wilderness and not lose your stuff, but lose the value of the stuff. So you basically dump GP into a coffer, and then whatever you're risking will just instantly kind of be just transferred over to the other guy if he kills you. So it ends up being a much more snappy sort of wilderness experience where you die and you're just right back into the action. You lose your what? It's still high risk, high reward, still like old school. But what will end up happening in that situation is you actually can have fun wilderness updates, and you can actually make it so you don't have to have all these complications with the wilderness, because if you die, it's not like the end of the world for a lot of people. Because I really do feel like a lot of these very strange, unintuitive sort of wilderness updates have happened because there's just so much complication with death mechanics and so much complication with other things. I mean, those Trouvé parchments or whatever you call them, like those are obnoxious. Like just the fact that some things are tradable, some things aren't untradeable. If you could just get to the point where the whole system is perfectly standardized, where if you die, there's just a cost to it. You literally would respawn with all your stuff still on, and you could just get right back into the action instead of this like just demoralizing feeling of losing every single thing. And if you're an Iron Man, it's just every single thing you've lost, and now you have to like go even just reclaim like the mystic robes or something, or just like black d'hide. You got to go make some more of that and stuff. Like all of those nuisances are completely eliminated, and the wilderness actually becomes fun. And there's actually incentive to fight back, because if you're an Iron Man and you actually anti-PK, your coffer gets funded with money. You can't withdraw from the coffer, but at least it'll pay for future deaths in the future going forward.
Yeah, the Trooper Parchment is a funny one, because like now what they changed it recently so that you only need one per equipment like ever. So like now it just feels like, what's the point of them at all? So like it has this weird interim space now. And yeah, I think there's actually a lot of friction, just not so much even losing value of your bank when you die, but just the re-gearing seems annoying. Like I obviously don't PvP that much, but like it's just obnoxious. And then you just like you have to go figure things out, like a bit of friction there. It'll be funny. I just imagine a world where like people are putting stuff in their death coffer, or sorry, you put money in your coffer, but then the items you use, you like gamify the like GE value, like with death's coffer is now. So like you'd have like some random gear on that happens to be worth like way less than the death coffer is saying it is. So you'd have like some funny gear sets going on.
The only thing, so this is actually one of the things that was brought up, is like there's like the death's coffer and then there's the PvP coffer, and they're completely separate. And one of the things that, don't get me wrong, there would potentially still be some weird stuff going on with GE items having some weird manipulation, but it just wouldn't be anything broad at all. And the fact is that you could just check what you're risking, like literally just check the price of what you're risking before you enter the wilderness. And you could even have like a Runelight plugin that just says, here's your risk. And it's like, as soon as you've entered the wilderness, that's just going to be it. And I feel like the only way you can get scammed or anybody else can get scammed is if you are actively participating in yourself getting scammed. Like I can't even imagine a situation where you unknowingly would be the one to get scammed the GE value. It could only work against yourself, basically.
That's true. I guess it's your own coffer, so it doesn't really matter if someone thinks you have more value or not.
Yeah, it's like, all right, you're gonna kill me. It looks like I just have Monk's Robe, but technically I have this weird one-dose potion that's way worth more. Like 500 mil, and you're about to steal 500 mil from me. Take that. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll do that, I guess. But yeah, no, I mean, what you said about friction is the biggest thing. I mean, we want to eliminate friction in video games. It's a video game. Think about, I always bring up this example, but think about any actual PvP game, like a shooter. Like, imagine when you die in Call of Duty, you have to go, you're naked again, and you have to go run over to like your bank and like grab your
put your gun
like,
back together.
Yeah, get all this other shit and get your food and stuff. No, you're right back into the action. You just respawn, boom, go, fight. The wilderness right now is like the most archaic thing, and the nice thing is that popular PKers that are in this Discord kind of describing the idea, like Framed and Eliop and stuff, are 100% on board with this idea, which I'm so grateful for, is because they actually see that they just want the wilderness to be fun. They're sick and tired of people just hating on the wilderness and the wilderness being completely dead, and they just realize, okay, like if we just make the wilderness fun for everybody and fair and engaging, and there's a reason for everybody to fight, it kind of fixes like everything for them, like for the PKers.
I think like the other big problem is there's just no onboarding to learning it. Like LMS is an option, but like that's swamped with bots. And like every time I think, I'm like, maybe I'll try PvP. You almost need somebody's help. Like you can probably grind it out slowly, figure things out, but like it's pretty much impossible. And the skill ceiling is so high. So it's like, even if you were to attempt, you just get creamed every single time. So like it feels like that in combination with some of these weird like archaic mechanics is like the biggest issue, because it's just like a bad cycle. There's no new blood to do it, so there's it's dying, but then people don't want to try because everyone's already like peak like ability for PvP, and they'll just get demolished.
And I know of real life friends, one in particular, his name's Kevin. I remember in college he went out into the wilderness to fight the crazy archaeologist out there. He got PK'd and lost like 800 of his like death runes on his Iron Man or something that he brought out there by mistake, or just didn't want to bring out that whole thing. He didn't log in for a month. He was so demoralized by like the experience, and the guy told him to sit or whatever. Now, don't get me wrong, you should have a little bit thicker skin than that, but like the fact that like he died and lost all this shit that he didn't really realize he would lose was just like the most depressing thing for him. And I want you to just imagine, and this is for the audience as well, imagine a world where he dies out there and he just respawns at Ferox Enclave or Lumbridge with all his stuff still on him, even his inventory. He keeps literally everything. The only thing that was lost was the value of everything he was carrying, minus his 3 or 4 protected items or whatever.
And you can keep your clue item, so you don't lose that.
Yeah, you would literally keep everything, and you just go right back into the action. It's not like this devastating blow to your ego. And again, it really does feel like there is like a very small subsection, luckily, of these days of PKers that thrive off of the misery of others. It's not even about the loot. It's about like how miserable can I make somebody? Like how much can I like be toxic toward them and make them feel. It's like, why are we going down that road with the wilderness of maintaining this sort of status quo of the wilderness needs to be the shitty hellhole where everybody's pissed off at each other and everybody's yelling slurs? And I mean, I guess it's not as bad these days. I don't really see that happening as much, but like it used to be really toxic like 6-7 years ago ish.
It's gone from toxic to just empty, which is like some people would argue is an improvement, but like it's not the solution.
And it's empty, and people are still saying the wilderness is about the high risk, I'm like, dude, do you even log in anymore? Like I still see commenters saying never touch the wilderness, it's perfect as is, it's perfect. And I'm like, dude, you have not entered there for a while. This place is shitty. Anyway, that's my end of my rant for the wilderness. But I really am optimistic about these changes that'll come into the game, hopefully soon.
Yeah, maybe this year. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's too much going on this year. Okay, I want to re-switch gears over to this question, which is, how have you seen the player base evolve, either based on your own content creation journey or just your own perspective on you playing the game and kind of seeing that that sort of player's perspective shift over just the last decade? I mean, again, looking back at your old videos of like grinding a bond 8 episodes, a bond versus nowadays.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether the audience has changed or they've changed because the content has changed. Like, I'm not sure which one kind of happened first, but I mean, definitely higher quality videos. That's, people expect that. And I think also in the community itself, people have gotten older. So like, I think just editing styles and thumbnails and stuff have become like a little less chaotic. Like, I think a lot of the most popular videos are like, they're well edited, but they're not like montage AMV style things as much anymore. Which is, I prefer, but obviously I don't know if that's everyone's cup of tea, but like, I think that's something I've noticed in like obviously trends come and go. We're in the chunk man era, and then maybe next year we'll be in some other popular era. And like, yeah, I think the audience is kind of evolving with the creators and us kind of as well the other way around. But I'm not really sure what came first.
Yeah, interesting. I feel like one of the biggest shifts over the last 10 years, and let me know how you feel about this, is just how much more skilled players are. I mean, people just know the
Yep.
game inside and out. And I think big props to the wiki for that. And also big props to just RuneLite for just having visual indicators and everything for everything. I mean, I remember 10 years ago, most players did not know what tick manipulation was and did not know what prayer flicking was at all. Like that was just not even a thing. Now, to be fair, there wasn't really bosses back in 2016 that were like super complex. But these days, like people are, I mean, getting an Infernal Cape, for example, almost, it still is a huge achievement, but it almost feels, at least in my view, that like basically anybody can really work toward that. That used to be seen as like, no, that's whoops level shit. Like nobody could ever get that. And these days it's like, if you work for it and you have a good enough stats on your account and decent enough gear, you can get it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more knowledge across the board. Like, yeah, like you said, prayer flicking, but also just like what gear to bring. Like, I think there was so much, I don't know if it's misinformation, but just not like well known what gear actually was good places. Like people would
Yes.
bring just the most random stuff, and like just because they thought it vibed well with their outfit or it looked, I don't know, they thought it was going to be
Yes.
good. And now it's like pretty. We have DPS calculator. That's probably a pretty big change. Is like actually knowing
Yes.
how much damage you're doing, because prior you were just kind of taking like the whip's good. That's probably the best item here, but like there's just enough factors. It was hard to know 100% what was going to be the best option. And there's so many minor things like I was talking to someone the other day. I'm like, how is anyone supposed to know a Bloodveld has a magic based melee attack? Like, what the hell is that even?
Exactly.
Like, you pray melee, but it damages you with magic. But if you pray magic, you still take damage. It would have to wear D-hide instead of rune. It's very, a lot of those old mechanics are well known now, and a lot of the new mechanics and new bosses have made it like taught people the fundamentals better than they like would have prior.
Yeah. Let me get your take on this. This is something that was mentioned in the panel last week, talking about monster examining. Now, answer me this. When is the last time you've ever cast Monster Examine or the new monster sort of lookup spell? Like ever?
I did it on Yama. That was the last time. And
Okay.
prior to that, I don't think I ever had you.
Yeah, I think I've done it like on, I used to do it on Corp just to see what its magic level was when I was specking it down. Just like make sure it's, but like other than that, hardly anyone uses it. Plus, it requires, like, it used to require being on Lunars with the proper runes in your pouch, which nobody's bringing body runes to anything. So you have this weird spell, and I want to hear your take on this. What if they've already added a sort of monster lookup spell to all the spell books? What if there was just a monster lookup spell that's added to everything that shows literally everything about a monster that would show on the wiki, and it's a free cast? It doesn't take any ticks to load up. It doesn't require any runes. It doesn't require any magic level. It's just simply, you can click it and you can look up any single thing that you see around the game and just see its
I
stats.
think that'd be cool. Like you could have like a bestiary or something where you just like, you cast a spell once and it just adds it to your book and it just has all the stats.
Oh,
like I think Jagex is in this like, they're never really sure whether it's worth putting the effort in over just relying on RuneLite or the wiki because they do such a good job. But I think there's still a pretty large amount of people who just won't look at the wiki, and like you kind of have to have it built in, because you can't just be like, no, that information's invisible unless you go to a third party. It's just like, it kind of has to be there somehow. I think the lower level spell is a good change, but I still don't find myself casting it ever because it's just easier to just wait. I'm not going to be the first person into the boss to cast Monster Examine. So like, if someone will do it before me, I'll just look on the wiki. But also with new releases, they just don't even let you do it for a while. So do you like that being disabled for a week?
No, I don't. I think it's just outdated. It's like, okay, I'm glad that some devs like it, their boss not being solved for a week, but like, come on. let's just.
But it's not like people will figure it out. Like
They'll still
mostly.
figure it
It's
out.
a
Yeah.
little confusing, but like you're gonna try out a weapon. You're like, well, that sucked, so I'll just try the next combat style. It's not like hiding that much.
Exactly, and you have like hundreds of thousands of players playing it. Eventually, within minutes, it'll be figured out. Basically,
Even the drop rates is like, all it really leads to is people kind of just being misinformed, and like they'll have it mostly right, but then people are just like gonna debate it for so long. I feel like you could just probably release the drop rates, but it doesn't. It's not a huge deal.
I mean, drop rates themselves, I don't mind them hiding or how they're doing it, but the stats of monsters needs to be
That's annoying.
revealed. And yeah, I mean, I do think it would be really cool to have like a sort of encyclopedia on your account that just shows every single monster, as long as you've like, I don't know, killed one or looked them up or something at some point. It sends it to your database. I think it actually would be the best if you could just like, well, one, if it maybe just the entire thing is just on there, sort of like a wiki on the game. But even if it was just simply still, if there wasn't an encyclopedia because it's too much work, it's simply just a monster lookup that literally shows everything that you would possibly need to know about a monster all in one screen right there. I think that just solves so many issues. So
And it's like almost there already. Like we have all the bosses in the the combat achievements and even the collection log. Is like I feel like it's pretty close. You just have to add in a lot more basic monsters, but like I think the framework looks to be like pretty much there.
yeah, that would be a huge project, 100% to like a catalog all of them. But it's actually not even that big of a project because all of the data is already on the wiki. Just make like run some code that just like literally copies and pastes it all over. Like that's like, again, am I gonna do that? No, but if I knew how to and I was getting paid a decent amount of money to do it,
I would do it for an afternoon or two.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want things to be more indicated. And again, going forward, if we start adding flat armor to things and adding other new effects and just see if something can be venomed or not properly, like elemental weaknesses, there's so many things these days where like it would be so cool at one click. You just look it up, boom, right there.
Yeah, I think like some of the things are intuitive enough. Like you're attacking something that's not doing damage. You're like, okay, it doesn't take damage from that style. But like if it has 3 flat armor, you're just going to be a little confused and you're just going to be not hitting your max hit. Like, yeah, I think we do need to have that information somewhere.
Yeah. You know, what'd be also really cool is if there was a very, very proper sort of DPS calculator thing in the game. Not like where you can test out any gear, but at least the gear you have, you could really see what is going on, like what your actual DPS is when you're looking at your stats and like what all the effects would be. And if you're going to kill something on task or with a salve amulet or anything like that, it just shows on your equipment screen when you're looking at it. That would be incredible.
This shows some of it. Like, does it show the set effects, but it doesn't show much more than that.
Yeah, and it doesn't show exactly what the DPS is either, because if you're basing things off different speeds, it's really hard to know, especially for the average player. If it's like, oh, I want to use this 5-tick weapon that has 120 strength, but this 4-tick only has
use my
80.
adamant battle axe.
Yeah. So I don't know. It'd just be again, it's just for the average player as well, just to like get their bearings way faster. Feels like.
With that said, I think the last like 3 years they've added so much into the early and mid game. It's actually just crazy to think that these updates weren't there before. Like we have Scurious, we have Brutus, we have Moons, we have the Royal Titans. Like before that, it was like God
Barrows.
Wars. Like Barrows God War. Like there's such a big gap. It's actually crazy it took this long to add that in, but I think the game is so much better for it. So I think there has been some big improvements, but there's the clarity of some things is still lacking.
Let me ask you about Barrows real quick. You know, with Moons, they made it so you just can't get duplicates until you finish a set. What are your thoughts on just like, let's just say overnight, tomorrow, they just made it so Barrows, you can now no longer get duplicates until you finish a set.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I didn't even realize that was the case with the Colosseum as well, and also Moons. I thought it was lucky both times. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh wait, is Colosseum like that with the Sunfire?
The Sunfire,
Oh,
yeah. You only get.
I thought I got lucky too. I didn't know they.
Yeah,
it's Colosseum. Okay.
So I don't think it would be good for everything because then it just totally would nuke the amount of kills you would need to get to green log something. But it's nice. I think for early and maybe it's probably not the end of the world because like you just kind of want that gear. Like you don't want to get like 10 like blood moon bottoms or something unless you're a main account. That would be nice.
I mean, and look at Barrows for a second. I mean, it used to be 10 years ago or 11 years out for a second.
Yeah, sorry, cut it for a sec.
So Barrows, I mean, 11 years ago used to be the case that like the Guthon Spear was like 8 mil and then everything else was like dirt cheap. Just everybody just wanted the Guthon Spear. But these days, literally almost everything at Barrows is relatively the same price, except for, I mean, I think it just ranges from like 150K to like 2 mil, which there still is a little bit of a range, but it's not that big of a deal. And Barrows average completion is still like 1,400 chests. Like it's out of control. Where if you were to just make it so you couldn't get duplicates of, again, the sets. So it's not like you are going to complete all of Barrows dupe free. It would just be set, just like Moons is. So like Moons.
So it would roll like you're going to get a Guthon's piece. If you don't have all 4 of them, you'll get a unique one. But if you happen to roll a Torregs, then you
could still get a duplicate Guthon's piece if you've already completed that set at that point.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like I wouldn't really care. Like I think especially for probably one of the first bosses people are interfacing with, I don't think we necessarily have to keep it just the way it is just because it's been like that for 20 years. But like, yeah, it also, I mean, like most Barrows gear, like most people are just going to go there for a couple pieces. So I guess in a sense, in the beginning, you only need like a tank top and bottom, or like you might be going for a full set, but you probably only need like one of them. I think it would be kind of helpful for new players though.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Okay, one of the things we have not talked about so far is the Grand Exchange tax. Now, you're definitely going to be more of an expert on this than I. I don't play main accounts, and I also have not really dealt with the Grand Exchange in a long time. In fact, I've even menu swap. I've like menus hidden, or I've hidden it in my menu swaps to even use the Grand Exchange. Yeah, because I would just misclick it. You know, I'm running there on my Iron Man to go bank at the Grand Exchange. I'd hit the exchange, and I'm like, I can't use this. So tell me, let's get a little bit of a brief history of the GE tax, why it was added, and just the percentages of it and what it's done to the game.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting that the first GE tax was added in at the end of 2021 or something. And it's kind of hard to like say for sure exactly how it affects the market or individual items because it's money coming out of the game, and they have an item sync list as well. So I guess the mechanics of it is they're taking 1% off of any transaction that is above 100 GP and less than, at the time, I guess less than 500 mil or something. Because after it would cap at 500 per item. So they're taking that money out, and then some of that money is going towards an item sync. So there'll be taking out like they had a list of items that you could sync, and Jagex just created this list, and there was like PVM items and whatnot on it, and then the rest would just be taken out just as straight cap. So certainly the items that are on this item sync list have, I think, been stabilized from it. Like, for example, if you look at the Twisted Bow, if you have like a market tracker, this might not be 100% related, but as soon as the GE tax came in, it spiked up almost double. So like the Twisted Bow before the tax was about 700 mil, and now it's 1,600 mil or 1.6 mil. So I think there's definitely some correlation, and it's kind of crazy we went this long without having a tax at all, because a lot of other MMOs actually do have a tax. So I think it's good. And then also a year ago, they increased it even more to 2%. So it's had an interesting effect on also flipping, because now there's not only a margin between the items, but there's also a tax rate. So it's, I think, made it more difficult because the margin is bigger because there's now a 2% tax. But if you fuck it up, you lose the 2%. So if you even just break even on your flip, you still lose 2%. So I think it's kind of affected that. But in my opinion, I think it's probably good for the long-term health. I don't know if we need to go past 2%, but I think it has helped in the long term.
So, they kind of pick and choose which items are going to be sunk, correct? And
yeah,
I just wonder, is that just the way forward? Is that just like the best way is just to kind of pick and choose which items they value as like, oh, this should be this price, and we're going to make it so we're sinking some of them so it kind of maintains that value? To me, I'm always wondering, like, shouldn't things really just be sort of supply and demand when we're playing a game like RuneScape? I mean, this isn't real life. And I'm just wondering, like, isn't it a bit odd that just some items have this higher prestige that Jagex decides and then others just don't?
Yeah, I think ultimately is still kind of a band-aid solution. Like, for one, Jagex is choosing these items, which is kind of weird. So they can manipulate the market, of course. Like, yeah. So they have added like 40 or 50 items here. You could have it like affect everything, but then the tax would probably do nothing because there just wouldn't be enough money. I don't know, like some items why they even had to. I don't know why they were sinking twisted bows. To be honest, like I don't know if they needed to do that. I think like I kind of agree with you. Like I don't know if we need to be meddling that specifically.
Do we have data on how many of these items have been sunk?
They did release it a few times. I think they only release 2025.
While you're looking that up, I wanted to share something that I found interesting. This must have been a couple years ago, but I remember seeing something where, like, Third Age Druidic at the time, I'm sure there's many, many more Third Age Druidic sets in the game at this point now, but I think there was a total of like fewer than 50 Druidic sets in the entire game. And it was like, holy crap, like just knowing that there's only literally like, 200 total Druidic items in the game means that if you like start actually trying to buy that, if you had like a huge bank and stuff and you just wanted to like kind of like buy those out and hoard them, like you could really do some crazy manipulation with Third Age stuff. Have you ever?
Yeah, and people do. They 100% do, because like they're at least 4 of the items, or 5 maybe, are above max cash. So there's literally, you're just taking their word for it after that, because there's no actual in-game way to trade them. I mean, you can do platinum tokens, but there's no market data. So like allegedly the Third Age pickaxe is like 15 bill, but like I don't know, maybe not. This really just comes down to what people are saying it for. Mm-hmm. So they're massively manipulated.
That's actually one of the other topics I wanted to kind of touch on now is Third Age items. Like, just in general, what your thoughts are about these insanely rare items that have an insane price, and would you want to see more of that come into the game? Like, what if there were items that didn't even come from clue scrolls, but just extremely, extremely, extremely rare stuff that came from a boss, for example? Like, I'm talking, a 1 in 200,000 fucking weird ass item you could get from a boss that's meant to just be stupidly rare, but if you get it, there's very, very few in the game, and it would just have this just insane value to it. Like, I wonder, like, do you like things like that? I mean, RS3, we saw obviously party hats, discontinued items just having this extreme value. Do you actually know what the prices of party hats are on RS3? Like,
I haven't checked recently, but I think they were like, at the peak when I was looking, was like 200 bill. Which I can't remember if that's old school or RS3. Yeah, it's probably RS3 gold. So I don't know. Like,
is that like 10x?
40, 30 bill maybe old school.
Holy fuck.
I'm not sure. They're totally just, you're guessing on what they're actually selling for. But yeah, I think to answer your question, I don't mind them adding in really massively rare items, assuming they're not like that important for the game. But I think we do have to fix the cash stack limit, which I know is difficult, but like beyond even rare items, like a twisted bow, if the gold inflates a bit more, the twisted bow is at risk of going above that amount.
And raids 4 items.
And the raids for items, yeah. Like obviously that stuff would happen right as a new item release, which already is a bit of an issue, but like an existing staple item like a Twistabo, you have to go off the G to do it. That sounds like that's a huge issue. So they would have to fix that, and they may even have to fix it regardless.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm always wondering. I mean, we obviously have the third age, which is really cool to like have some insane item to flex. But oh man, I'm just thinking to myself, like if they were to just come out with some stupidly rare thing, even like from Raids 4, just some rare. I mean, imagine the helmet of the moon had been like 10 times as rare as it was already, plus it was tradable.
Yeah.
Like something just absolutely filthy of and just so pointless. It's like a completely pointless thing, but it is a tradable thing, and it's super rare. I would love that personally, just for fun. I mean, I know there'd be some people that would be butthurt over the clog, which I think is just the main gripe for any rare things these days. Is
we got to hold the line though at some point. Like people should not finish that collection log.
you.
I know
Yes.
you should aspire to do it, but like it would be unethical for someone to finish it, and I think impossible, like realistically.
Immoral.
I don't think we should. Yeah, moral, whatever.
No, I'm just.
I don't think it's fine. Like
It's. I'm because seriously, it's a collection log, not a completion log. Collection log.
Yeah.
Come on.
But yeah, for an item that would be that rare, but also not important, I mean, it just wouldn't be that expensive. Like it would be expensive because it's rare, but I don't think a billion.
Yeah.
Because it just wouldn't be useful.
Do you? I don't know if you listened to the episode of Mod Arcane like a couple years ago. He was talking about his hot take, and Mod Arcane's hot take was that pets should have either been 20 times more rare than they currently are, or like 5 times or even maybe 20 times more common than they are right now. So
that was a pretty hot take.
yeah. But I liked his view on it. I'll hear your thoughts, and I'll kind of explain a little bit of why he thought that way, if you have any thoughts right now.
Yeah, I mean, the pets do feel pretty rare as is. Although it is kind of weird that you get like a 20x multiplier or a massive multiplier once you get to 200 mil experience, or 15x. I mean, I think the balancing of how rare the pets are just fluctuates so much. Like, I don't know if across the board they should all be 5 times more common or 20 times more rare, but like the Doom pet's really common versus like the Barbarian Assault pet is incredibly rare.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if like I think there can be some imbalance in them, and I would want them to be significantly rare, but what do you think?
So I love, first of all, I love the hot take because he just feels like right now there's this weird middle ground where they are achievable to get, but it's just like an insanely long grind. But if they were 20 times more rare, nobody would have all pets, and it would just be this insane thing. It would be like
but people would be trying still.
Yeah, I mean they would 100%, but it would require so much more luck because just like think of a pet that's 20 times more rare. Like that would be like going to Bandos, and now Bandos is 1 in 100,000 for a pet. And now you imagine going 8 times dry. 800,000 Bandos for a pet. And that could just happen because you have 60 pets to go for. Like one of them you're going to go crazy dry on. So the entire idea behind Mod Arcane's hot take was the fact that pets should never have been a collectible thing. It should have been this absolutely astronomical thing that you get like basically once in an account's life, maybe a few if you're like a real sweat. And that is like a giga flex thing to have around you. And not every single person has a pet. You know what I mean? Because it feels like if you've put in, like 100 days into an account, you most likely probably have one pet.
Yeah.
And when every single person you see has a pet, it's just like, okay, that's kind of cool. And it just matters on which pet you have now. But in his view, it was like, no, if you see a pet, it's just insane. And then he was also saying on the opposite end of the spectrum was like, oh, they should just be like, I don't know if he said 5 or 20 times more common. Just the fact that like, okay, yeah, now basically if they're just that common, like everybody can kind of get them as long as you've engaged in a boss. I think his main argument really was though that they should be way more rare, so that it really is just never anything anybody's actually chasing except for the crazy psychopaths. But if you do pull a pet, it's just like the coolest feeling of all time, which it already is a cool feeling, but it would be even cooler.
Yeah, I would like. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with him, but I would. Some of the things related to it is I would like them to just. I don't want. Why does your pet have to still go to the freaking bestiary or whatever it is after? Can we just not lose the pet ever? Because like I feel like if you already put so much time into getting the pet, now it's free to reclaim, but all my pets are still there because I'm lazy. So it's like I still don't have the pet out ever.
Yeah,
Which is like maybe my problem, but like we're so close. Like we've gotten rid of the fee. Can't we just use the pet for please?
You're totally right. Why can't we just not even lose the pet on death? Just there, you still have it still following you.
And also another somewhat related thing to that, which I wish they had fixed a long time ago, is the jars. They have a few untradeable jars now, and it's too late. But at the same time, like the jars are so pointless because you can for main accounts because you can buy them for like 100K.
Yep. Very sad.
You know.
Yeah, the jars. Yeah, if we could go back in time with our perfect hindsight, we should just have been like, jars are all fully untradeable. And then just again, like what you were saying, is really just align pets properly. I mean, pets should never be more common than an item. Nightmare is the biggest offender with that. Doom is also an offender, but Nightmare, like when the pet's 1 in 800 and the orb, at least with normal Fasani, is like 1 in 3,000 or 1 in 2,500, whatever it was. I'm like, okay, you're expecting to get 5 pets before you greenlog this place. What is up with that? The pet should always be vastly rarer than the most common item or the most rare.
You should never be disappointed to get a pet, which I always am at Doom. Damn, it could have been any of those other things and I would have been happy. Everyone already has it.
Listen to this. Let me hear your take on this. What if when you roll a duplicate pet roll and you already have a pet, it doesn't, or it could still show that you got a duplicate pet, fine, if that's already in the game, but you'd also get one of the uniques as the roll. So it's not the most terrible feeling getting a duplicate pet. It's like when you see the message you would have been followed, you also get one of the unique rolls on the boss.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Although like they're usually on different tables, aren't they? So it'd be
they are. It would just have to be like, okay, you get a roll on the table when you roll the pet for a duplicate or something.
Yeah, it would be feel good. And also while they're at it, they should make it so.
Oh, sorry. You just cut out.
Around. Oh, I said while we're at it, let's make it so you don't need a purple in chambers to get the pet.
Yes. Because isn't that the only? It is the only raid that does that now, but
I think so.
But isn't it like the only thing that does that these days? Like where you, well, I guess technically Doom is kind of like that because you see a glowy and that means it's a pet. But that doesn't mean you got an item though. So yeah, you're right.
No,
it is.
They did I think they updated it though because now if you get a duplicate pet, the does not glow because I got super baited. But it's still disappointing because you knew you could have gotten.
Yeah, that is always tilting.
I found the G tax. It looks like they've sunk. There's a lot of numbers here. 5-6 trillion. That sounds low. Actually, doesn't seem right. Is it more than that? Billion, million. Anyway, it's in the trillions, anyway, for sure.
That's crazy.
And this is as of 2025. An item they've sunk the most of value-wise. Look, Bando's Godsword.
Damn.
And then Blowpipe. And Arcanes, of all things.
Interesting.
And then also the Twisted Bow. They've sunk 400 Twisted Bows.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's because they're doing it based on value. So it's a 600.
That makes
billion?
sense. That doesn't make sense why they would only have sunken. Okay. That's surprising. I thought it would be way more than that. I thought it would be in maybe 10,000 or something.
I know, but I guess they're just still pretty rare.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they haven't sunk that many of them. I wonder if that actually. And they've sunk 253,000 occult necklaces. The actual number.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I love the idea of having the gold max cash be shot up to what RuneScape 3 did when it's like, isn't it like something quintillion, like 2 point?
Yeah, essentially infinite for most people.
Yeah. What is the actual cap? Is it, was it 2 point something quintillion, or was it just some insane number? I thought it was just like Maybe it was just 1 quintillion or something, or 900.
Yeah, I think I stopped counting after. I'm like, it's high enough.
It's like more than it's more than all the gold ever generated
Yeah.
ever in RS3.
Like if you have that
Plus,
amount, you've cheated the game somehow.
yeah, like it's more than all the wealth that's ever been accumulated in all of RuneScape 3 times something I remember hearing. So that's insanity.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, let's see. We've pretty much covered all the topics I wanted to touch on. I guess one of the things I do want to ask before we wrap things up is, what does your content look like going forward? Do you just keep doing your thing? Do you have any new ideas for content? I mean, it sounds like you kind of want to stream again a little bit. What are you feeling content creation wise?
My goal for the next year is to wrap some series up, because I want to have at least one ongoing long-term series or idea. But just from a content creator's perspective, I want to shift over to some shorter ideas, because like once you've locked yourself into something for multiple years, for one, it's hard to keep people interested that long. It's hard to keep yourself interested that long. And also, YouTube kind of penalizes episodic content now. Like, if you've noticed, everyone's pretty much just trying to hide the fact that this is episode 30 of a series by like the thumbnail and the title. Everything has to be like self-contained now. So
Interesting.
I kind of want to just shift towards kind of wrapping up one of my series and then have like Trader Steve as my main one. That's just going to go until I'm no idea how long that's going to take. But then I want to do like some kind of mini, like maybe 3 to 5 max, like 10 episode series. Just because it'll be like, you get the hype of making something new, but it doesn't drag on for 4 years.
Still feels contained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about you? Do you have any aspirations for this year?
Yeah, I mean, well, thanks for asking. Yeah, I'm working on my hardcore series. Definitely published my most exciting episode where I got 3 pets in an episode right on the release of Leagues, which was just terrible timing.
People are gonna think it's Leagues luck.
Yeah, it was just like, what is happening there? And so the last couple videos have just not done well viewership wise, because it's kind of been around Leagues. And
I feel that.
But I'm still really enjoying the account. I'm gonna be moving in with my girlfriend at the beginning of June, and me and her have a gym together, and I haven't really started.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't really started playing it, but she's been going crazy on it. She's already like 88 rune crafting or 89 rune crafting or something on it, and we just started it in January. I mean, that was mainly her like only focus on the account. She's been doing a little bit of Slayer now, but we're gonna make a Gim series. So I think right now, at least the only popular one is Mudkip and Spook Dogs like Gim. And I think we want to, join that little niche and have a little couples Gim, which I think will be fun. Because
there's very few duo group Ironman.
Yeah, and I mean, we're gonna be living together, so I feel like, and she's just a gamer. I mean, her main iron is maxed and like got a shadow and stuff. Like she's a gamer.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
my girlfriend just played a little bit, but she was literally just helping me. I got her doing the Hell Sepulchre for like 100 hours straight. I literally sent her to like the mines.
That's insane. Yeah, like
I got it.
Haley is like, so that's my girlfriend's name. She's truly like good at this game. I mean, she even grinded out like all of her CG for her enhanced and stuff. Like she's a gamer. So I'm really excited to start that series. I don't know if it'll start in the summer or we're gonna start getting some episodes backlogged first. And then so that'll be happening. And then I'm starting this new little like panel series where I'm getting creators and players on to just talk about hot button issues on the game. Again, it's one of those very niche types of things, but I do feel like if I get some bigger names on, we could actually, like, I could sort of like grow the show a little bit more and really get some good community discussion. Because this is always something I've wanted to do, is like have a sort of quote unquote player council that's kind of talking about ideas and really getting a player feedback thing in a panel rather than just the JMods on a Q&A, having it be more player and content creator focused. So something I've been doing. I got the first episode out. I'll have the next one out next week. But yeah, other than that, just kind of like doing my thing, doing more podcasting, and just enjoying Just I don't know where I'm at right now. So
Yeah, that content creator life. It's pretty nice sometimes.
it is nice. It is. It's still stressful because of, and
Oh yeah.
I bet you agree as well. It's just like it's always shifting. There's always new things. You need to be on the ball with like new content and new ideas and stuff. But overall, it's very
Mm.
satisfying to like do stuff for yourself and you're your own boss.
Yeah, I know. I do love it deep down, but like the struggle of like how excited I am when something does well and how depressed I am when something does badly. I
Yeah.
still have not been able to solve that after 10 years. Like it still affects me so much. And I just like, I thought I would be over that by now, but I'm not.
It almost feels like it gets worse over time.
It kind of does because you're like new and you just like, there's no expectations and
Yeah.
things are exciting. And now it's like you have all these preconceived notions from like however many years. And it's like, oh, like 5 years ago, this video would have done better. You have so much existing stuff to go off of.
It's totally true. I think the biggest thing is like, I don't know, it's just like, trying to have fun with it. That's like the biggest goal in my view is like, I want to make stuff, even if it's not the most exciting thing for other people. Like, I want to be enjoying myself deeply.
Yes.
And because I'm with you where it's like the struggle of like feeling like this isn't enough. Like, I need to do more. Like, this is not doing as well as I thought. And again, it's like managing expectations. I always build up a new video in my mind. I'm like, this is gonna pop off, and then it just doesn't. And it's like, fuck.
It's always the complete opposite. It's like, wow, that thing I spent like an hour on did so much better. It's like,
it's the worst. And then you just see all these views like funneling into like one of your worst uploads, and it's like, god damn it, nobody's gonna check out my channel because they see this as their first video. But
yeah, it's very rare those things like collide on one. Like both, I loved the video and spent a lot of time on, and it got a lot of views. It's like so rare, but when it does, it's nice. But like,
yeah,
not frequent.
I think the last time that happened was when I got Chig Okonkwo on the cast, that NFL star.
Oh yeah.
That was, oh my god, like that was like fucking peak. I mean, just the way it all worked out to get him on in the first place was just a miracle. And then to talk with him, and then just nobody knew. Literally zero people knew I was about to drop this, and I didn't hint at it or anything. I just dropped it one random afternoon. And yeah, I mean, it actually surpassed my expectations. I was like, this will probably get like, I don't know, 30 or 40,000 views. No, it got like 90,000. I'm like, all right, this is great.
That's so hype.
Yeah, but
everybody plays RuneScape.
Yeah. All right. Well, Robin or Flipping Old School, I really appreciate you coming on today. This was a great conversation. So thank you very much.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it a lot. Thanks for the invite, and yeah, maybe we'll talk again in the future sometime.
I would absolutely love that. Thank you all for listening. I'm going to have all of Flipping Old School's links down in the description, so be sure to follow him on all of his socials, and we will catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Bye.